Good evening, and welcome to a belated start to tonight's edition of Spurs Diehards TTID Tottenham Till I Die. Just a small technical issue that we've managed to address, I think, and I'm hosting tonight. I'm Ian, and I don't have control of the buttons in the chat, so my colleagues will deal with that as we go through. But first of all, a special welcome to our guests tonight. I've got a couple more jumping on later, but first of all, zookeeper Tom, you were at the game tonight, today.
I was.
Good
yeah.
Good evening. Good evening to you,
Good
Tom.
evening.
One of our admin team, the sheriff Mark. You weren't at the game, but you were hosting a dialogue.
Well, yeah, it started as a watch along, but at the end, it became a hate along.
Yeah, I can
To be
believe
honest.
that.
Yeah.
And Adrian, you're another one that was at the game and stayed to the bitter ends.
Yes, always do it. I've been doing it for 6 decades now, so
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure there's nobody watching that doesn't realise the match finished Spurs 3, Chelsea 4. A game that started off so well and ended so depressingly. But let's start off with the team if we can. Adrian, can you put the team up? There we go. Tom, I think you were a bit pessimistic. You said Van de Ven would actually last 7 minutes.
Yeah. I got it the wrong way round. It was Romero who only lasted 10, 15 minutes.
So what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts about the team and certainly playing Romero and Van de Ven?
Initially, I think it gave the fans the boost we needed before the game. To be honest, the vibe I was getting on the train going there and around the ground was all a bit, oh God, do we really want to be here and stuff? And of course we all did. We all want to support the team, but I think as soon as we saw that, everyone was suddenly like, "Oh, right, great." But I mean, I tried not to be pessimistic, but I had this vibe that they were maybe rushed back too soon. But we don't know what's going on, do we, in the club? Like, they may have been ready weeks ago and they've waited until this moment. We don't know, but it was good to see them back in the team. And actually, that first 20 minutes, whilst Romero and Van de Ven were on the pitch, we were great. And then it went off injured.
Mark, your thoughts?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I was in the back room, before I did the watch along, I was hunting around trying to get the team up so I could share it and all that. And when I found it, I thought it was last year's team. Honestly, because I thought, like, Van de Ven and Romero, I was like, that can't be right. I thought that must be last year's. And then I saw Solanke, and I thought, well, no, it can't be. And then there was several, I had Sky on my telly, and they put this. I thought, what's going on? I mean, I was like, Tom, is this too early? Obviously it proved to be, but I'm sure we're going to get into it. When I think I think Ange just chucked all his eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Adrian, your thoughts? I mean, just for Mark's recollection, it was the same team that maybe tells us its own story. It was the same team as played Chelsea. The outfield players were the same, with the exception of Solanke that played in the same game, the 4-1 game last season. So that maybe tells a story.
I'm not sure if it was, mind. I'm not sure if it was, but
that's what they said on Sky. So I'm going to
did it? Oh, was it?
I haven't double checked.
There was a lot that happened in that previous game anyway, but I was pleasantly surprised with the lineup. I thought Dragerson was going to start. When I see the lineup, obviously I thought, is Van de Ven and is Romero fit? Obviously they were, otherwise you wouldn't put them out. What we don't know, I mean, you can go one way or the other with the Romero thing. Was he fit or wasn't he fit? Or has he picked up a sort of different type of a knock, a dead leg and all that? It didn't look that serious, though. He walked off the pitch all right. So we'll have to wait and see. So you can come at it each way with Romero. In a way, you could sort of blame Ange if you think, he's put him back in the side too soon. But then again, we don't know if it's the same injury. So it's a bit early to make a harsh judgment on Ange on that one, I think. But no, I thought the team was right. I thought Maddison was left out because he wanted to solidify the midfield areas, which I thought was the right way to go. We know Chelsea have spent like $1 billion on their team, and like so we knew we're going to have to be on point if we're going to win this game, because they've really got quality everywhere and an abundance on the bench as well. So yeah. So, but no, I was pleased with the lineup. I was pleased with. I'm not going to be a hindsight critic and try and be smart after the fact, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at, we don't know, and one of you said about we don't know what's going on, behind, and maybe they've been ready for a little while and what have you. But I wondered if it was a little bit of desperation coming from Ange.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
In my opinion, Tom, you can go. In my opinion, I mean, like he hasn't exactly got a lot of choices to pick from. Tom, go on, you carry on anyway.
No. Right, I'm down the same sort of vibe of that. I think the thing that's massively concerning is, as you said, this is our Foster for Vicario and Solanke for Maddison. This is the same team we put out against Chelsea at home this time last year. And yet last year, we all agreed that the team needed improving and we needed better players. And yet we've put out the same 11 players, bar one through injury, but bar one through the transfer window. That's a failing of the director of football and the squad building people, surely. How can we come into the season with our first 11 not being any better than what it was last season?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
There's something I think we
brought in one player, Solanke. But I'm normally right at videos all the time, but I didn't watch this until the transfer of Solanke gained gravitas. Then I went and looked at him. Okay, didn't really, decent finisher. Nothing. He's not a special player. He's not Harry Kane, is he? Or nothing like that. But no. But then we spend 100-odd million on free kids.
Yeah.
The thing with Solanke is a you get what you pay for player. He converts the amount of goals. He scores the amount of goals he should score. But he's not a Harry Kane who outperforms his XG and all of this stuff. Solanke will bang on, do what he's expected to do in terms of the chances he's provided. He will score the ones he should score. He'll miss the ones he should miss, like in terms of statistics. That's what you're getting with Solanke. So therefore, you need to provide him with enough chances. And it was proven within the first 5 minutes when Johnson puts a ball across the box. First time I've seen Johnson run with the ball at his feet for the whole time we've ever had him. He runs down the line. He puts a great ball in, and Solanke puts it in the back of the net. But then did that happen?
That was mentioned on the watch along as well. Right? Can I say hello to the chat?
Yes, do.
Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Paul. I believe I met you at the stadium today and you've subscribed. Good man.
Thank you, sir. Graham's here as usual.
Hi, Graham. All right.
Still top of Jose's league.
Jose's league.
Yes. Jose's league. Yes.
I had 8 points yesterday. I think I got 1 today. So
I'm not sure what I got, but I was top of the online one. And Graham is now 16 points clear. My inner Ange come out. And he's 16. Well, he was. I haven't checked yet.
Yeah.
And good evening to Nita. Yeah. Hope your husband's okay. Her husband's.
Some things are a lot more important than.
Of course they are.
Than football. I've actually got a relative. I won't say who. In hospital, having had an operation in the week for bowel cancer. So there are things, and it does put things in perspective, Nita. Some things are more important than football. So a salutary reminder to all of us, but welcome and thank you in the circumstances for coming on and supporting us, Nita. That's really appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. She's in every show. Show.
No, love her to
bits.
Big up, Nita. Big up.
Right.
Always makes a good contribution.
Graham, big up, man.
Graham's laughing, probably at me.
I presume he's laughing at the 16 points,
I'm not sure what it is. I haven't checked yet, but it's not good because... No, actually, I've gained a point for Tottenham losing. I'm not saying what, And Eugene's here.
Yeah.
No, Eugene's here.
Eugene is here. Hi, Eugene.
He is here.
Good evening.
Yeah, big up, sir.
Levy out. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Or
thank you.
Levute, as it says. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the heart. All right, let's.
And Phil's here. There's just one more. Phil's here.
Yeah, Spurs are sucking life for me at the moment. I'm numb to this shit now. It's going to get worse before it gets better. We need change from the top down. Going to address it, Phil.
Precisely.
There's a lot to talk about in this game, but I think we do need to move on. Let's move on to that one. For those of you joining, we had a technical fault at the beginning, and I can't actually access the banners. So when I'm hosting, I usually we've done that one. We've dealt with that one. Yeah. Cucurella slip sliding away. I mean, we're 2 up in no time. Both from something you just don't see in professional football. Tom, a defender like that slipping and giving away possession that brought in, if I'll say indirectly, but brought about 2 goals.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was fuming when he went and changed his boots. So, the irony being, he slipped on the first one, and then when he slipped again, as soon as he slipped, I was like, "Go on, score another one!" And then we actually did. I was like, "Oh, blimey, wasn't expecting that." I mean, yeah, maybe that's the one slight concern of the whole thing, is that 2 of our goals only came from one of their players basically slipping over. But you also have to add in the fact that we were putting pressure on him in that moment where slipping was a vital turnover of possession and stuff like that as well. And it's not just, he slipped over. You've still got there's still a lot of work that needs to be done after that. And like I said, it was the first time I've seen Johnson pick up a ball and actually run with it and drive drive into the space. And it just suddenly put Chelsea on the back burner, and we got that first goal from it. But yeah, I mean, wear studs. I don't know why players don't wear studs. They always wear the blades. I feel like my dad. My dad always used to say to me, "Wear studs, not blades. You'll fall over all the time." And then yeah, that's just. But I mean, it was hilarious. But end of the day, he was laughing now.
Adidas La Paz 6 screw-in metal studs every time for me, unless it was hard, in which case you wore a moulded sole, they used to call it. It's an age thing, Tom. Absolutely.
Good evening to Nige as well. Good evening to Nige. Thank you for doing the watch-along earlier. Thank you for doing the watch-along with me earlier.
If Jose or Brian Daigle are watching, I've sent you a different link because we had technical difficulties earlier. I've sent you a link on your WhatsApp, Brian and Jose. So if you are listening at this point in time, just go into your WhatsApp and you click the link, you'll come on the show. Sorry.
Well, I sent Brian's. Did you send it to him as well?
Yeah, I did. I doubled.
Oh, all right.
I mean, Mark, let's bring you in because you were doing the watch along. I mean, you're not proper Spurs if you genuinely think we're 2-0 up and we're going to win this game easily.
Well, me and Nige were talking about it on the watch along, and I said I had the perfect thing to play us out with. The Chelsea Get Battered song from the South Stand, but no, I think I jumped the gun a little bit.
Yeah.
No, you see, it never. Well, did. Well, when we were 2-0 up, though, it did look comfortable.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah, for a while, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Adrian, one of the things, apart from the goals, we'll talk a little bit more detail about the goals. But one of the things I really, I agree with Phil. One of the things that got me was our press was just so good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you say Cucurella slipping wasn't synonymous with the goals, albeit it was a big contributing factor from their point of view. But we were pressing and we were on top of them so early and so often.
Yeah, I mean, the press was good. And even in, if you go through the stats for the whole game, it was still quite good through the game. I mean, Chelsea dominated because they had 200 more passes than us during the game. We only had 38% possession. But our press was good. If you look at the stats for the tackling, they were quite good. But to the eye test at the stadium, I'm sure Tom will agree, it looked like Chelsea completely dominated the game. You know what I mean? It did to me. But looking at individual things that you're supposed to do well, we did a lot of good things. What we didn't do was we didn't score the extra goals, and we had chances to do that. But so did they, right?
Yeah.
They did well, right? But in fairness, if the third goal goes in when it slips past the far post, when we're 2-0 up, but then again, and you're going to give 2 penalties away in a game and expect to win a game of football. I mean, it's not going to happen, is it? I mean, so like, I don't know. I mean, we still did, even though we didn't have the possession, right?
Mm-hmm.
We did do a lot of good things during that game, but at the same time, once you've lost, it's like it's very hard to come on a show like and sort of like mention any positives I might have seen.
I'm gonna talk about the manager later, Ben. You've mentioned it, and I'm going to talk about the owner as well because we've got issues. There's no doubt we've got issues, and everybody knows me and follows me on social media. Knows I'm a big Ange man, but there comes a point where even what I'm seeing is like I know enough about football to know that this can't go on.
Nita's just summed it up here. Look.
However much, but Tom, we were just alluding to it before. Let's talk about. I mean, it never killed my love for the club.
Exactly.
For the team, it might kill my love for the club, but it won't never kill my love for the team. Tom, we were talking about. I've just. I
offered to send him the link.
Well, I did ask for if Ben wanted to come on tonight. I did offer him, and he said he couldn't. So I'll get him on next week or the week after.
Yeah.
I'll get him on before long anyway, if you want, Ben. But we talked about the goal, and it was very much an Ange ball. Johnson getting the ball, putting the ball across to Solanke, and his movement and his anticipation is a typical Ange goal, but it was also brilliant by Solanke.
Yeah, it was a typical Ange goal, and it was good pressing as a team, and then pouncing on that mistake that was made by falling over or whatever it was. And then great movement from Solanke, great finish from Solanke as well. It was very good. I know Adrian said earlier about it felt like Chelsea was dominant. I feel like Chelsea had a lot of the possession. Well, I think we created, and I think the facts and stats back this up. We created the better chances. We had far the better chances, and we didn't punish them. I mean, obviously, Son at 3-1 running through, or 2-1 running through, or was it 2-2? I can't remember now.
Yeah,
running through, missing that might have been called for offside with Udogie and stuff like that. I know we'll probably come on to this later, but
I am. Yeah, I've got to know.
You've got to take those moments, and of all the players running through with that ball at their feet, running through 1-on-1, you would back Son amongst most players in the world, let alone as the best player at Spurs, and he completely blew it. And the annoying thing for me was after Son missed that, he spent the next 5 minutes with his head in his hands, sulking, going, "Oh God, okay, mate, you've missed a big opportunity. You should be doing better than that. But you're the captain. You need to now show, okay, like we'll get another chance. We'll get another chance, and we'll make it count, rather than spending the next 5 minutes." Sulking that you've missed the chance. That was frustrating.
I've actually, Tom, I've got a section later. I haven't got access to my banners, but I know what I wrote. And it's actually Son v Werner and talking about this, because Son is starting to miss an awful lot of one-on-ones. And I mean, you can go back to the one against Manchester City that probably cost Man City the league and gives it to Arsenal. But he's consistently missing them, and I want to address that, because I'm not impressed with Mr. Son at the moment. But Mark, let's bring you back in on Decky's goal. Again, another slip by Cucurella. The ball comes to Decky. I have to say, I didn't get up and celebrate this because I thought, is he offside? Is he offside? And he wasn't. Goes across the defence, left foot into the bottom right-hand corner, 2-0.
Do you know, when me and Nige was watching it, doing the watch along, neither of us celebrated. I thought he'd missed and it had hit like the back sort of stanchion thing, and he'd missed. It was only when he started wheeling about. Because if you re-watch the watch along, Nige said it's in. And I said, is it? I said, I thought we missed. And then we all sort of like, yes. But to be honest, in the first half, Cucurella was our man of the match. just for slipping over twice. But unfortunately, he had a right go at the medical bloke, whoever sorts the shoes out, and unfortunately, he changed his boots.
Surely, Adrian, you played the game a little bit, as did you, Tom. I mean, surely the choice of footwear is down to the player.
Yeah, they'll have their
one pair of boots.
yeah, they'll have their preferred pair of boots that they'll want to wear, but yeah, they'll have, oh god, each player turning up at a game will probably have about 3 or 4 different pair of boots that they can change through throughout the game, which is ludicrous. So I think I used to have 1 pair of boots for the whole season, let alone per game.
But your dad was a tight arse. He wouldn't buy you 2 pairs of boots.
Yeah, I'd ask for the total 90s, and he'll buy me the total 70s instead.
Phil raises an interesting point. We're 2 up. What's my next banner? I bet it's Angie's game management.
Yeah.
Right. Go back to Phil's comment. When we were 2-0 up, why didn't we shore up at the back, keep that 2-0 lead? And we never do that when we take the lead. He's never going to change this. Phil, thanks for that. You've led me on beautifully to that. You could be my script writer. My view is when we go 2 up like that, why does he not get Bissouma and Sarr to drop and make a 2 in front of the 4 at the back and just say, we're going to keep this tight for 15 minutes. And we're gonna just use. You're gonna have to attack us, and we're gonna pull you on the break. I've got Son left. Still got Kulusevski, who's got a pretty well a free number 10 role. I've got Johnson right, and I've got Solanke, who's dominating their centre halves if the ball comes long, and he doesn't do it.
Well,
Adrian, let's ask you.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, good question, but we were sort of like defensively set, not necessarily with 2 pivots with Sarr, but Tom was at the game with me. Bissouma was always sitting in front of the back 4. He was sitting in front of the back 4 for most of the game. So he was obviously given that role, knowing that we're playing a good side, right? And so I see where you're coming from, and also like we scored 2 goals so early. You don't want to like invite teams onto you for like 3 quarters.
Mark, you disagree, so let's bring you.
Well, after the game, I know you watched it in because we were talking about it backstage. Was it Merson, Jamie Carragher, Carragher, and Jamie Redknapp? They all like questioned why we didn't just sit in a little bit. Because, as I've said many times on this show, when we play at our best, we've got the 4 along the back. We sit back, we invite teams on, quick passing out, like we did against Villa and Manchester City twice. And we won all them games. Is when we sit back, hit teams on the break, quick passing, boom, boom, boom. But no, because I think it was Carragher in the Sky studio after the game was saying, look, when you're 2-0 up at home and you haven't won for a while, just sit in. But he won't. This is my biggest criticism of Ange. It's one-dimensional every game.
Why don't they say it when you're 1-0 up then, right? Because you're inviting, and if we'd have sat back on 1-0 or sat back on 2-0 and lost the game, what were these so-called pundits have been saying then? I mean, I don't agree. It was just too early. If we're half hour to go in a game or the last 20, and it's game management, I think there's a time for game management. But it's not bottling it, because that would be bottling it. You're 2-0 up right now. You're going to sit back. You're bottling it, in my opinion. I mean, look, it's just my opinion. I mean, like, I don't know what you other guys think, but.
Well, to me, when Cucurella slips and you get 2 up in 12, 14 minutes, whatever it was, Tom, for me, that's like Santa coming down your chimney on Christmas morning, dropping off all the presents, and then going back up the chimney, forgetting he's been you, and coming back down the chimney and giving you more presents. I mean, it's just an absolute gift. And I think, well, this is what you give me your opinion, but my view of Ange, he plays one way and one way only, and he's not prepared to change. I mean, to me, it's, Arsenal, the old Herbert Chapman in the 30s, what we've got, we hold. I mean, for me, let's keep it tight for 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. We know we're a good counter-attacking team, so let's keep it tight. Let's not give them anything to encourage them at all. Break their spirit.
I completely and utterly understand where you're coming from. But we've been here with previous managers where we go 1-0 up, where we've gone 1-0 up, or even 2-0 up, and then we've sat back and invited teams to just constantly come at us, keep putting balls in the box, keep shooting, keep putting balls in the box, keep putting balls in the box. And we're like, what are we doing? Why are we dropping so deep? Why are we doing this? Like, so it's kind of like you can't win what, if we were 2-0 up and Udogie puts that ball in the back of the net, it makes it 3-0, then who's saying, oh, we should have sat back then? It's moments that dictate opinions on what we should and what we shouldn't be doing. Yes, we should have been probably a bit more pragmatic, and I feel like the press got a bit all over the place at one point. Like, I think they got really excited, the players, like they got those 2 goals and right, yeah, let's press, we can get more here, and maybe got a bit over the top. But their goal didn't come from us being miles up the pitch. Their goal 2-1 came because Sancho got the ball on a wide left and no one engaged in him. No one at all. Porro didn't go to tackle him. Basuma didn't go to tackle him. Kulusevski didn't go and tackle him. Dragusin, who was on the pitch at the time, he didn't go in. They just let him walk through the whole pitch and have a shot from 20 yards out. That isn't bad tactics. That's just inept players. No one taking responsibility to take the man, even if they took the man out. Fine. Like, it's annoying. We don't like giving silly free kicks away, but you can't just let a player waltz through your whole team and then go, wow, we should have sat deeper. Sitting deeper in that moment would have made no difference whatsoever. To Sancho just waltzing through our team completely unchallenged. I get it. I really do get people who say, oh, we should have just sat in, but sat in from the 15th minute. What, for the rest of the game? That would have been a nightmare. We would have been like, oh, what are we doing? Why are we? And the thing is, I respect to an extent Andrew's like, well, we've played this football for 15 minutes and we've gone 2-0 up. So why would we change it? Like, I completely, because if actually in that moment, if you're changing something, then you're actually more likely to mess things up when you've already got 2-0 up doing it a certain way. So I kind of understand that to a minute, but obviously there needs to be a bit more pragmatic. But the thing for me is when we went 2-1 down, I saw Basuma going to all of the players like, keep your head, calm down, keep your head, calm down. And then 5 minutes into the second half, he goes and does the most ridiculous challenge.
I've got it.
And you can talk tactics and press and sit in all you want, but if a player's going to go flying in to a tackle, he's never winning when a player is not even running towards the goal in the penalty area. This is not me giving an Ange excuse, because I was annoyed with Ange when he brought Werner on instead of Maddison. I thought that game was crying out for someone who was happy to take the ball in the middle of the park and calm things down a little bit. I think that when Johnson went off injured, I thought that would have been a perfect moment. Okay, stick Kulu on the wing. We're playing counter-attack now. Kulu's great on the wing and counter-attack. Get Maddison in the middle of the pitch, calm everything down a little bit. And he brought Werner on. I just thought that was suicide, to be honest with you.
Well, he brought Werner on because Johnson was injured. He kept
but 100%. That was why. But I would have just, and again, this is all hindsight. I can say I would have done this and it would have worked. No one knows that for a fact. But it just felt for me that we lost the game in midfield in the second half. We had no control over the midfield, and I felt like we were crying out for a player who would have happily taken responsibility of the ball and tried to do some stuff in tight moments. And Maddison gets fouls for days. Like, he'll get the ball and he gets fouled in the middle of the park and he picks up those free kicks. And that would have been fine, especially with the way that Caicedo and other Chelsea players were flying into tackles at certain points. That would have just been perfect for me, like, to bring Maddison. And so I have a criticism of Ange there. You can criticise anything if you want. We lost 4-3, so you can criticize the whole thing, but I just feel like we created so many chances to bury that game. And look, again, I'm not one massively for XG and statistics and stuff like that, but XG does prove itself over a 38 game season. Minus the penalties, we created 3 point something XG. Chelsea created 1.2. Add the penalties on, and that bumps them up to the same XG as what we were.
Yeah. Well, they did say on Sky. This was it the only game this season, or one of the very few games this season where both teams' XG was over 2.5.
Yeah. So
now, I've been asked to bring this comment up for Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Like, gets 2-0.
Whilst he's reading that. So minus two stupid fouls for penalty, because SARS was idiotic. Basumas were idiotic.
I'm going to come on to
that. But minus those, Chelsea. What did Chelsea really create?
Hang on, Tom, because I'm going to come on to the second half, but I've got Jose here. Welcome to the show, Jose from El Cocorel. There's two of us thinking, when we got 2-0 up, we should have sort of tried to hold a bit and maybe go a bit deeper. And then we have two that think, now we were 2 up, we should just keep playing the same way and go for it and get a third. Where do you sit on this?
I sit down right in the middle of that fence with the splinter sticking up my arse, because to me, I've been probably in the happy clapping camp for Tottenham for far too long, and in all honesty, while I hear people around me bubble up this person, that person, the other person, I've had my thoughts, and today I just thought to myself, this is just exactly what I've been thinking for a long time. Sarr, I don't see the greatness in Sarr. Don't see the greatness in him at all. He's bang average at best. He's got a lot to learn. Bissouma is a maverick, does what he wants. Bissouma makes mistakes game after game after game. Not even just a penalty. His decision making is absolutely awful. I thought our fullbacks were absolutely woeful. They are not fullbacks. So, we play them in such a way. They're not fullbacks, because if they were fullbacks, they'd be able to attack and defend. To me, they're not fullbacks. They never have been. And as for our forward line, apart from Solanke today, I can't see. It doesn't matter what permutation we stick up front. The only forward we got in the forward three is Solanke, and that's with all the players that we've got in our squad, and that includes Richarlison. At the end of the day, our squad is average at very best. It's average at the very best. We have got major problems. Ain't just Ange. The players that he's got are absolutely woeful. To be a good player, it means that you are consistently good, or consistently a 7 or 8 out of 10 every game. Our players are lucky to get a consistency of 5 every game. They are even lower than that. To me, people are going to come out for Ange and his in-game management. I could turn around and say to everyone, if you see it with your own eyes, you saw the injuries that we got, and we were dubious. I mean, happy as Larry I was at the start of the game when I saw Van de Ven and Romero were in the side, because I thought to myself, it was going to be Dragusin and Gray. And, in the end, the 2 centre-halves we had playing did not even last the game. So now, how further back does that put them to? How many more games are they now going to miss? Johnson's now going to be injured, so he's added to that injury list as well. It's just one shit show after another, and it's not like it's only been coming now. This shit show started last season, in all honesty, when we had all the injuries after 10 games. And I don't see where in the piece we've got some really good results in the meantime, but we've had some really bad results as well. And I just don't see where we've bridged that gap since after the 10th game last season. People said to me, it's the injuries in Angie's first season. We're getting more in the second season than what we had in the first season.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, to me,
The hamstring killer.
I know people are going to come. People are going to come out for Ange, and you saw as well, Ian, because you're in one of the groups that I'm in, and I've seen the messages in there, so have you. And I know that people will come out after Ange, but to me, it's a deeper rooted problem. Ange can only. I think that someone put down. Ange has got to deliver all the tools that he's got, and a lot of them tools are rusty. And it's exactly that. The players that we've got, really, the sooner we realise this, the better. The players that we've got are just not good enough because they're not consistent over a period of time, and they keep making error after error after error. And also, I did put in one of my comments, I said, in all honesty, now I'm looking at my players and I'm thinking to myself, if I start looking at the players that I mentioned today, just now, how many of them would get into any of the top 8 teams in the Premiership? Not 6, not 4, but I'd say top 8. I don't think many of our players get into top 8 in the Premiership the way that they're playing at the moment, because they just haven't got the mentality. They haven't got the know-how, the players. They're just stuck in the mud.
Adrian, let's bring you in because there's so much to cover with what the guys have said so far. But Jose makes a really, really good point about the number of, and in the chat as well, about, it fell apart after 10 games when we started to get injury. Once again, we're getting injuries and a lot of hamstring injuries at about the same time at the start of the season, same point of the season. And 3 stops in the Uber. Okay, thanks, Brian. Sorry, I've just allowed myself to be distracted there. But this number of hamstring injuries in particular it can't be a coincidence, can it, Adrian?
Well, when Poch was at Southampton, he introduced this high press, the Gegen press they call it in Germany, and it worked well for them. Now, Southampton aren't the richest and wealthiest team in the world for players, bringing in players, and they started getting injuries at Christmas and they fell away. He came to Spurs, and bear in mind we were the youngest team in the Premier League, at the time when Poch had his sort out, and we were okay for a couple of seasons with young players. But then you notice that Kane and Son were picking up these injuries. One was out or the other one was out, things like that. And then I compare that with Liverpool under Klopp. For his first couple of seasons, he lost a couple of finals, beat us in the Champions League final. Then playing the high press, the Liverpool players started picking up injuries. Pep's had the same thing with Man City. To me, this is not a coincidence, but I don't know if there's a science or stats behind it or anyone's looked into it, because I don't think football clubs, their management teams, they're more interested in making money. I don't think they really give a crap about player welfare, right? I don't. So I think there's definitely something into it. Now, whether it is the double training sessions at the stadium, whether the science team are crap, I trained for over 30 years myself. I mean, I knew how to warm up and warm down and all this. I never had an injury, not one, right? Now, I wasn't a supreme athlete like these guys are, right? But I think there's definitely something in it. And I don't know if the stats for injuries for all teams are collated, hamstring injuries, as they seem to be like the flavour of the month everywhere, right? But this needs to be looked into, because if it means playing this high press over so long a period of time and it's detrimental to players' welfare, then something needs to change.
Can you bring up whoever's doing the chat?
No, I am.
Yeah, Phil's comment about Jose, you set these players up the right way. We're not a mid-table team.
Yeah, here we go. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, what do you say about that? Because I'm inclined to think the players are not that bad if they're set up properly in the right system. I mean, I agree that when the two fullbacks or wing-backs, they were bought as wing-backs.
They
so
were.
I know we haven't got any cover, but play three at the back, and that allows them to go forward with a bit more freedom.
I don't think they are bad players inherently.
No, they're not.
But at the same time, they're not top echelon players. Like we have a good squad in terms of a rounded squad. We're missing key components in terms of another centre back, another left back. But what we're missing, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but we're missing a Cole Palmer. We're missing an Nkunku. We're missing that player that. How many times did Cole Palmer just go, just give me the ball and I'll do something? We don't have a player who can do that. Maddison sometimes can do that, but not often enough. If we now in this January transfer window, and it's not going to happen, but in this January transfer window, if we bought 3 players who improved our first 11, forget the squad, forget about a backup for Van der Ven. How about someone who can challenge Van der Ven? Forget about a backup for Udogie. How about someone who can challenge Udogie? How about someone who's better than Udogie? Because I think Udogie's been poor this season, and he's only young. Like he has to be given, thing. But like if we bought, a good left back who could maybe cover centre back and stuff like that, someone's challenge there. If we bought a top class winger who could knock Son out of the team, or Johnson, or whoever it is, a Nico Williams or a Mamouche from Eintracht Frankfurt or someone like that, and then if we bought a top quality, like I'm not saying it should be this player, but say Spurs took a bit of a risk and they decided, oh, okay, Bayern, Kimmich is running his contract out in 6 months. We'll give you 15, 20 million for Kimmich. You bring someone like Kimmich in to play as your defensive midfielder who's got everything up here. May not be the athlete that Basuma is, but he's got the brain. And I feel like we're lacking smarts in this team. We're lacking intelligence in this team to get you through those moments. Like, stop these rash challenges, stop things like that. And if we just had... You could massively improve this team just with 2 or 3 top players, because players get better when they're surrounded by better players. That's a proven fact. And if I just feel like we just need to get that stardust in this team, and then you'll see players like Sarr become more consistent. You'll see Basuma become more consistent. Maddison will become more consistent. We have the core there. We now need the stars, and unfortunately, the only way we're going to get the stars is if we actually suck it up and spend the money rather than penny pinching when it's
going to come on. Going to come on.
Yeah, I was going to say if I can.
Just one thing, I'm going to answer Ben. It's okay. Just Ben, you made a list of players. I've been saying for months and months and months, the player that I think that we desperately, if I could clone one player, it would be Moussa Dembele from the two.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
I think what a difference he would make to find another player like that. But, but a bread and butter footballer, Scotty Parker, Wanyama, Palacios. And I tell you what, Spurs never really saw the best of Wanyama.
No.
For all he was decent, Spurs never really saw the best of him.
No. Right, if I could just jump in, right?
Will you talk? I'm desperate for a cup of tea. I've had a bit of a headache, and I just want a cup of tea. Keep talking. I'm still here.
No. That's right. Right now, what you just said there, Tom, about like we need starters, right? When this channel first started, I was on it every week when the signings were coming in, the Archie Grays, the Bergvals. I said, what about the first team? What about the first team? When is this going to be addressed?
The thing is, Mark,
I was saying it all summer. All summer I was saying this, and I was getting shouted at on it. I was getting, oh, you don't understand. I was like, but it's all being proven correct. Everything I said is being proven correct.
The thing is, Mark, those signings we've made are good signings. Like getting Archie Gray in is a fantastic signing. Getting Bergvall in is a fantastic signing. Those are players that we should be signing, but you have to sign them alongside we only bought one player for the first 11.
Exactly. I said this in the summer. I've got nothing against Bergvall. I've got nothing against Archie Gray. Will they be fantastic and world beaters? We don't know. We do not know. We don't know.
But I've heard a lot of fans over the years go, well, how did Brighton seem to just pick these players up?
Exactly.
The signings we've made this summer are signings that, unironically, because we actually beat Brentford to Archie Gray and stuff like that, signings that those teams would make. And I'm happy for us to make those signings, but you have to buy the top quality players as well. And maybe now I'm just hoping that we've built this core now of youth and players who we're going to hopefully see us into the future. I'm just hoping now that the higher ups do the right thing, and now is not the time to buy more youth. Now is the time to start buying first 11 quality players who are going to be needle movers for this team. And because as well, the best chance of those young youth players have of succeeding is if they've got world class or top quality players around them to learn from.
To learn.
If you're throwing them in at the deep end without that around, like, do you really want Archie Gray learning from Basuma?
No.
Jose, let me bring Jose back because I know he escaped his in-laws just to come and talk to us tonight. You were shaking your head at that. I mean, I'm going to say this, and people in the chat and the rest of you can make your comments. I feel conned by Levy because he told me the stadium was going to be the game changer, and I was prepared to go with that. And to me, game changers aren't Solanke, albeit we paid a vast amount of money for him. It wasn't a Gray, it wasn't an Odebear, it wasn't a Bergvall. I thought he played really, really well when he came on. We needed 3 or 4 first-team players, and that's the kind of money we should have been investing in the summer when we all knew to kick on. We needed to improve the squad, and we haven't.
I think we've
right. So for me, I agree with Tom about the youth. However, Tom, I think that Levy has set this up. They're fattening the cow. They're reducing the wage bill. They're fattening the cow, and he'll continue to do so.
Exactly.
He'll continue to do so. So he'll continue being youth players. It's no coincidence that the next player through the door next week is Yang-Min-Yak. Okay. And next month we know that we've got Vuskovic coming through the door.
Yeah, Lucas.
So here we go. So we've got all the youngsters coming through the door. Levy ain't got no intentions of buying first team players. None whatsoever. He's made his plan really, really clear, right? And I think, and Ange knows this. Ange took the job on last season, knowing what the plan was. It was an agreement between club and manager. He knows what the plan is and stuff. But the players that we do have, I felt it for a while that they're not good enough, and that they go wandering, they go disappearing. They've got other things on their mind. And 2 of the players for me are Bissouma and Sarr. Forget about their penalty mistakes. I just think that they've been like that for a while, and I can't see where. At the moment, I can't see why people give praise to Sarr. I don't think he's that good at all, and I never have done. I think he had one good game ever for Spurs, and that was against Milan, and that was a good game, and that was his debut. I don't rate him. I still don't rate him. Haven't rated him, and I can't see. He's still got time on his hands because he's still young, but I can't see where the buzz is coming from with him. And I keep saying the 2 fullbacks we've got that are not fullbacks might be good players in their own right, but in different positions. They're not fullbacks. Why we continue playing them at fullbacks, I don't know, because they're not fullbacks. And Johnson will get you a tap in now and then, but he doesn't work for me. Doesn't work hard defensively. He provides no cover to help out. When we're in defensive transition or when the team's transitioning us, he doesn't help out at all. I think Sonny doesn't look anywhere near. He's nowhere near. Nowhere near the player that he used to be. And then when you look at your substitutions, when you look at your substitutions today, I will say that when Archie Gray came on for he came on for Van der Ven, didn't he? Yeah. When Archie
Yeah.
Gray
Yeah,
came on for Van der Ven, I actually thought Archie Gray did all right when he came on for me.
Yeah.
He didn't put a foot wrong. I thought Archie did well when he came on. And then when Bergvall came on with only 12 minutes to go, I thought Bergvall, obviously Bergvall's going to be energetic in there, but he wanted the ball. He was dropping deep to pick it up. He was starting play. He weren't giving the ball away. He weren't making
No.
silly tricks. The other thing was, you were at the game, some of you guys, all right? Did you see the Romero's flick? He done a Cruyff back flick type thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And got injured from that. Bissouma did a flick. Sarr did a flick. Why have we got players that think that they're fucking prime Lionel Messi? Even Lionel Messi in his pomp won't give away a ball by doing silly flicks like that. The flicks that if you're going to do them flicks, they've got to come off. But we weren't winning 6-0. So why are you attempting to do silly flicks like that? We're not 6-0 up. We're not coasting to the final whistle. So, you know, at the end of the day, I remain again, and I can understand what Phil's saying, right? Because Phil's disagreeing with me Phil's disagreeing with me saying that he thinks this is why it's Andrew's fault, because he's not coached them to be better or anything like that. I just think that they're not of a caliber of player to start off with, because if they were of a caliber of player, then other teams would be looking to sign these players or would have signed these players before us.
They will be in the future, Jose. They will be in the future.
No,
Bergvall and Gray and all that.
I'm talking Odogi. I'm talking Porro.
Yeah.
Bissouma, Sarr. Some of these players, Sarr, you can't teach Sarr new tricks. Sarr's 28, 29. You can't teach him new tricks.
No, he's younger than that, isn't he? Sarr's only quite.
Sarr's only 23, isn't he?
Sorry,
22. 22.
I meant Bissouma.
Oh, Bissouma.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can't teach him new tricks. So
no, but like
at the end of the day, I've just gone in and I've looked at Brighton. I've just looked at Fulham, because Fulham played today as well. I've looked at a load of teams that I would consider top 8 teams at the moment. And I'm thinking to myself, where do our players fit into them teams? They don't, because them teams don't need our players, because their players are far better in what they've got in their positions than what we can offer.
Yeah.
And that is the harsh reality. And I've been thinking this for a while, but I thought to myself, do you know what? Let's give them a chance. And I still continue to give them a chance because I support the club. But I support the club knowing that our players just ain't good enough.
Yeah.
Simple.
Is it a question of that, though? Is it really a question of that not being good enough? I think it's just a question of development. I mean, I agree with you on Bissouma. I don't agree with you on Sarr, Jose. I think it's a fantastic prospect. But therein lies the key, prospect, right? If you look at the transfer window in like summer, right? We brought in Solanke, right? That was it. We brought in kids. So then you bring in, we knew Bergvall was coming in, right? So you bring in Archie Gray. We brought in Odebear as well, right? Who got injured, unfortunately, right? And you look through the squad, and in each game day we're playing, and people seem to presume that we've got seasoned pros from 1 to 11, which we haven't, because like Udogie's a kid, VDD's a kid, right? Sarr's a kid, Johnson's a kid, and then you've got Lancashire. Hold on, we got Lancashire and more. They're part of the squad, whichever way you want to look at it. They are kids, right? Because we're short of seasoned pros. They are kids, right? And we've got 11 players in a squad of 25, which is less for the Europa League because it's 23. 11 players that are under 24 years of age in that squad, right? And you expect to get through a season and challenge with players like that. This is why I'm Jin. This isn't his fault. We didn't do enough work in that summer transfer window by far. I agree with Tom on that. We brought Solanke in. He was the only one. Now what we're doing, we're falling in the trap of blaming a manager on a results basis from game to game. When we're winning, it's sweet. I mean, you're not a mug. If you win 4-0 away at Man City, you win 3-0 away at Man United, you spank Aston Villa at home, you spank Everton, you spank Villa. You know, you're not a mug. It's not that he's not technically inept. Like people say he's clueless. He's not. He's been doing it for 26 years. Has he got things wrong? Yeah. I've criticised his game management. I've criticised his team selections. I've done all. Would I get rid of him, rinse and repeat? No. Go on, Ian.
Adrian, let me ask you this, and can go round this panel.
Well, this sums it up here.
No, it doesn't,
agree with
Mark. It's not the
what you're
true
saying
story.
about-
That's the whole thing.
hang on,
It's not
hang
the
on,
true
let me put-
story.
Let me put a specific question, and people in the chat as well. Is I've always been a big Ange, but I'm starting to get a bit pissed off with his naivety and his stubbornness and his arrogance and his inability to manage a game in. And I'm a big Ange fan. You know, I watch Celtic up here. You know, he was my only choice to be the manager. Brian, if he's listening, you know, was saying, God, Ian Meth, you've absolutely nailed this, saying Ange Postecoglou. So I know my coat to that mile strongly. But would a different manager, and you've seen Amorim's got problems at Man United, where you just can't, you know, make a sow's purse from a pig's ear when you've got poor players. My view is we got better players than Manchester United, much better players. So would a different manager be able to organise those players better because they've just got a different way of playing and would get more out of them? But secondly, what do you make of, I think it was Phil's comment, or no, I can't remember.
I'll soon find it.
Who said there isn't one player that we've got that we couldn't have afforded.
There we go.
It's Brian's, who we couldn't have afforded when we were playing at White Hart Lane. And the stadium, from a team point of view, has been a con-trick on all of us. So there's 2 points there, Adrian, and people in the chat as well, because I'll go round the panel.
Well, the different things is it's easy to be hindsight and say another manager would do better when results haven't gone well for us. Now, I don't want to go through a rinse and repeat situation after we've had 13 previous managers. If we get rid of Ange, that'll be 14.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you want him out, and I don't, right? And I don't, I'm managing at the end of the season. I was at the start of the season before he even played a game, right? I thought you got to give this manager a chance and the support. Has he been fully back? No, he hasn't. Solanke's the only oven-ready player we have brought into this club. The only one. The rest of the kids, they're talented, great prospects, right? But they're not really for the now, are they? They are future players. And we've done that. And look what's going to happen in January, right? You're going to be Yang Min Hook, right? Player of the year in the K-League, right? Vuskovic will be 18 on the 24th of February. So, I don't believe, because he's looked good, what I've looked at him, I like the look of him, but that's only my opinion. But I mean, I don't think even he will be farmed out again. I think we'll keep them. I don't see us getting rid of Basuma, or it would be first man out the door, in my opinion, just not consistent enough. You know, he'd be the first out the door.
Right.
if
we're bringing in a dog of a war midfield.
Right. The question was about the stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Well, there was two questions. I mean, the first question was about would a different coach be able to have us better organised?
I believe yes.
I believe that we've got.
Yes.
And secondly, Brian's really important point about there isn't one player that we've got that we couldn't have afforded at White Hart Lane, and has Levy conned us by telling us that the stadium would be a game changer.
Now,
when it manifestly isn't.
Right, Ian, I've been saying this on this channel for weeks. That this stadium is the biggest con ever. We were promised when it was built, this will get us to compete with the Man Cities, the Chelseas of the world, the ones that win everything, right? But right, on top of this, right, you got to remember Daniel's first statement when he took over the club. Yeah. I am here to make money. He's not interested in winning anything. Top 4 is his trophy. It always will be and always has been. If he gets them tills ringing over, so the likes of Adrian don't pay £30 a game for a Europa League game, they're paying 70 or 80 for a Champions League game, he's happy. Everyone's down in the bar, getting drunk to whatever. The tills are ringing. He's happy. We have not bought a single player since this stadium has been open that we couldn't have afforded at White Hart Lane. Levy is the biggest con artist I have ever met. Well, I've never
No,
met him.
I
I've
don't
never
think-
met him.
Look, this is why we're going to finish mid-table, maybe get top 6, right? Maybe get Europa League next season, right?
I was in
the
full
summer,
flow.
we didn't get the left back we badly needed.
No, that's
I wouldn't.
look.
No, listen. I wouldn't. As a left back, we didn't get that. We know we need a left centre back. We didn't get that. We know we needed a dog, a warrior midfield. We didn't get that, right? And we know Richarlison's made of glass, right? We need another number 9. We can't keep playing the workhorses in the side, which are mainly Sarr. You know,
Adrian, I'm not on about the side, the tactics, anything. We've been sold a lie with the new stadium. We have been sold the biggest lie in history to Tottenham fans, with the promises of the chairman saying we will compete. Can you remember when we moved to Wembley? It was said this new 60, it was only 60,000 originally, but they managed to squeeze another 2,000 seats in there.
we were
Right.
capped. Capacity was capped.
Well, no. It was lower than it was when it was being built, and then they managed to negotiate a few more seats in there. Right?
No, I'm not talking about Spurs Stadium. I'm talking about Wembley. Even playing
No,
there.
no. Yeah, all right. Yeah, no. It wasn't capped because we still hold the record for attendance in a Premier League game. 89,000 something against Arsenal.
No, it was
right?
Dortmund. It was Dortmund.
No, it was Arsenal. It was the Arsenal game. Anyway, I'm not arguing about the highest attendance. I'm not arguing about that. But we've been told the biggest lie ever that this stadium will lead us to the top. All it's doing is filling his pockets with more and more money.
Tom?
Right. 2 questions, wasn't it? Can a manager get more out of these players? So on that, yes, a manager could probably, in this present moment, be getting better results with these players. Do I think a manager could get a higher ceiling out of these players than what we have seen with Ange? No. What other manager have we had that has spanked Man City 4-0, spanked away from home, spanked United 3-0 away from home, spanked Aston Villa 4-1? Like, we haven't seen that with another manager. So I think Ange is the man. But I think what we are finding with Ange is that Ange is the man when everything is perfect, when everyone is fit, when everything's going well. Is Ange the man that when players start getting injured, that he's not gonna change or adapt from what he is as a manager? He is just not gonna do that, and that is frustrating. But we're saying he's arrogant and is stubborn. Is Pep Guardiola arrogant and stubborn? Yes. Is Jurgen Klopp arrogant and stubborn? Yes. Is Carlo Ancelotti arrogant and stubborn? Yes. Like all the best managers in the world. And I'm not comparing him to them and saying that he's the best manager in the world. But what I'm saying is his arrogance are inherently stubborn and arrogant. And the problem is that someone wrote in here, I think it was Phil, was saying, I can't remember what the comment was now, but something along the lines of, he's not getting the best out of the players that he has. Well,
I'll try and find it for you.
Well, okay. Let me
The
put
thing
it
is
this way.
that comment there, sorry,
Yeah.
Ian, that comment there is Levy's wet dream. He loves people saying that because that gives him a get out of jail free card, because he'll go, if another manager can come in and do better with these players we've got, then I can sack the manager for 10 million and get a new one in, rather than spending 20, 40, 50, 60 million on getting better players in for the manager we got. That's why we sacked Poch. If Levy had not been lulled in by Jose Mourinho's dick sand, or Jose going, I could win you the league with these players, I could win you all of this, and thought, it'd be cheaper to sack Poch and get Mourinho in than it would be to buy Poch the players he wants, then we wouldn't be possibly in this mess that we are in now. Levy gets away with it too much. We have to. And on the other question, has this stadium improved us from getting better players than where we were at White Hart Lane? No, it has not.
Exactly.
In fact, I think we've signed worse players since being at the stadium than what we signed when we were at White Hart Lane.
Yeah,
I don't go with some that say, Ange is a public manager.
He's not
out of his depth, whatever. I'm sure he sees what's going on. But Paul Merson said something at half time, and I think most Spurs supporters think he talks more shit than any pundit, but I thought he was nailed on with this. He said, it's not like when you're playing St Mirren or Kilmarnock for Celtic, where you have the best players. Brian came and went there.
Yeah, no. Well, I keep adding him, and Adrian takes him out.
You got him. Bring you in a sec, Brian. But good evening and welcome. Hello, good evening and welcome, as David Frost used to say. Is that when you're managing Celtic and you manage to get the best players and you bring in some great players, as he did when he revamped that Celtic squad in 3 months, you can keep playing your gung-ho football, because ultimately your better players will score goals and beat the inferior players that the opposition has. But when you're playing in the Premier League with the really big boys, where anybody can beat anybody else, which is why the prediction competition is so bloody difficult, you can't do that if you're tactically weak and allow teams to exploit you.
No, 100%, and I completely get that. So the solution to that is then you get another manager in, and then in 18 months' time, what do we say then? Oh, he's not getting the best out of these players. Like, I'm not inherently Ange in because of Ange. I'm inherently Ange in because I don't want Levy getting away with it again, doing the same old rinse and repeat and crap. I think that when the team's on fire and Ange and everything's at its best, the team has blown other teams away, and it's shown that.
Yeah.
And like this season, every game we've lost this season, we've only lost by 1 goal. Like, it's not like we're getting absolutely spanked off the park by teams, but Ange needs better players. The next manager that comes in will get more, possibly. If we was to sack him now and we bought a Thomas Franklin, he would get more out of these players we've got now, which will then give Levy the excuse of going, all right, well, we don't need to sign anyone else then because you're doing better with these now. Yeah. And it's like you're just doing the same crap over and over again.
Let's bring Jose in. I think my point is I'm a big Ange disciple, but surely from any pragmatic point of view, you say, I need to adapt my tactics to fit the stronger league that I'm in. And sometimes when I'm playing against superior players and the quality coaches that I've got, that I'm up against when I'm playing in the EPL. Jose, sorry, you're eating there.
No, that's right. So you're asking me a different question to what you've asked everyone else so far.
Slightly, you can answer the first one if you do. I'm trying to move the discussion on.
Well, the first and foremost, yeah, I'm like the rest of the panel. We were definitely sold a lie about the stadium. It was definitely a lie. And like I said, he's made it clear what he's doing every season, season in, season out. It's clear. It's clear. Unless it's foggy in your head and you've got glasses that don't see anymore, you need to go to an optician. It's quite clear. He's fattening the cow. He's lowering the wage bill. He's going to bring more and more youngsters in, and he's doing this for a reason. And we are not going to go out and buy first team oven-ready players at all. See, stadium or no stadium, that is the facts of it. Now, as for the players, as I said, I don't think our players are good enough. End of. You can bring as many coaches as you want to this club. If you've got the caliber of players that we've got at the moment, we're just not good enough. Simple as.
So we sack Ange and bring a 14th manager in under ENIC.
I never said that, did I?
No. That is what anger. See, my bugbear is the fact that, like,
can I answer Harry? By the way,
haven't been backed. It's the same.
Harry, I normally work with 4 or 5. I don't like working with big.
Go on then, Ian. I'll stop. Go on.
And I've got 6 already, so not this week, my friend. But there'll be a big story developing soon, and I'll have you on. But I'm going to tell you were talking, Adrian. Then I need to bring Brian in with those questions we were asking, because I think he might have an opinion or two.
I mean, like,
an outside funny
as
feeling
fans,
I've got.
As fans, we're all well-intentioned fans, whichever way you lean. But I mean, like, you look at the situation, right? 13th manager under ENIC. You sack him, that's 14th. He hasn't been backed. Well, the others backed. Poch wasn't backed in 518 days, and fans were screaming for his head because he wasn't backed. And then when he got Ndombele and even Lo Celso later, who was actually fully signed up under Marino, right? Now they're saying like, oh, like, yeah, Poch is a rubbish manager, right? He changed the whole expectations among the fan base at this club, right?
Mm.
And then we move on to like 3 other managers who play a different type of football, which weren't the right fit because they're not the Spurs way to dare is to do, although it might sound like a bit of a joke now, right? But I mean, like, they just weren't the Spurs fit. And then like we get Ange, who is more of the Spurs fit. He's had 1 season, you know. I mean, he did well to get 5th last season. I've said it.
Come on.
Well, Mark, you say that, but I've said it before times. He comes in, he loses the world's arguably best striker, right? We set the Premier League record still now, 8 wins and 2 draws. He then loses Vidi then, right?
That's not my problem, Adrian.
Oh,
Adrian,
no.
I can only...
Let
Hang
me
on, Mark.
finish.
Let Adrian make his point.
Let me finish, right? Right. So then, like, Matty Cash does Bentancur, yeah. We lose Maddison for an ankle injury, right? Basuma has 3 suspensions. Romero has a fucking suspension. Players away on international duty. Those players are then away on international duty. They come back, right? And Ange got 5th. I think he did very well to get 5th with what he's got because it's looking unlikely we'll get 5th this season, right? Yeah. And then we move around to now, and he starts. He's not backed in the transfer window. We get 1 player who I hadn't had a strong look at, which was Solanke. The only proven oven-ready Premier League player we brought in was Solanke. That was it. We spent about 100 million on free kids, right? And like we start again, we come again. Now I've critiqued his management in games, in substitutions, in games we've lost, like we all have as well. But I've also I like to be objective and be balanced on this. He hasn't been backed, and he's been thrown in the same pit as other managers we've brought in as well. And people want to get rid of him? Well, fine. I don't. I want to stick with him throughout this season. We're in 3 cup competitions. We will qualify for the Europa League because it goes down to 24 teams, and that gets you a Champions League spot. So I don't actually see the bold getting rid of him, even if the noise from the fan base grows. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Is he the problem though? Is Ange really the problem? Is he? This is what I'm asking.
Brian, let's bring you in here.
Can I just answer? Can I just answer, Adrian, what I was going to say? Just 1 minute. I won't go on for 5 minutes.
I've got the clock on you, Mark.
No. I'm just going to say one thing. I brought these stats up many times. When we were top after 10 games last season, Sky put it up, and it was all over the Sky Sports News. 96% of the teams that are top after 10 games get top 4. So we are in the 4% that don't. This is where I believe that you saying we got top 5, he did well, was completely and utterly wrong. That's it.
Well, I think you're wrong, Mark. I'll counter that.
That's right.
Right, stop.
I'll counter that by the fact that how many of those teams? No. How many of those teams that got top 4 that were in the same position we were after 10 games, right? Lost 3 key players, had players out for suspensions. You can't. There are too many variables to compare what Ange had to other teams. You can't do that.
Newcastle had far more injuries than us last season.
Hold
and so did a lot of it. Anyway, enough.
Well, now you're talking about 1 season.
The referee has blown his whistle. And
yes.
Brian, I need you to come in because you actually posed the question, and you posed the point, and it's a really key point about that we're not signing any players that we couldn't have had at £36,000 White Hart Lane. And basically, we've been done like kippers.
Yep. Listen, first of all, I just want to say hello to everyone on the panel. Ian, it's a pleasure to be
Big
back
up, Brian.
on the stream with you. It's always a pleasure. Sorry, the guy above you, I don't think I've streamed with, or don't know. What's your name?
I'm Tom, Zookeeper Tom.
Nice to meet you, buddy. Nice to meet you. And everyone in the chat. Listen, before we go any further, Adrian, I need to say to you, any fan that says Vuskovic and Huck are coming in January, and it's going to... The guy won't play 18 and 19-year-olds we already have. Puskovic may come in January. He's getting nowhere near this first team. Yuk will come in. He's getting no. We have to stop thinking youngsters are going to come in, and because they're there, they're going to play. This manager won't play them. No, I'm not saying you. You said before I came in. You said, and this isn't a dig at you. I'm saying you said, and I clearly heard it. In January, we got these two coming in. Forget it. They can come in. They can come in all they like. They're getting nowhere near this first team. Nowhere near it. Whoop-de-doo, they're coming in January. There'll be 2 new cars in the training ground. That's as far as that goes. Ian, getting back to your question. As you know, Ian, and I'm going to go on a calm, placid, Daigle monologue, let's call it. Ian and I met on a stream, and the reason Ian and I know each other is because when I was back in England, Levy Out was starting around the Conte, or it might have not even been pre-Conte, it might have been Nuno.
It was Nuno.
It was Nuno. Okay, thanks, Ian.
It was
Ian
Nuno.
and I drastically disagreed on absolutely everything board-wise. Board-wise. Agreed on some things. We see football what goes on the pitch, we see pretty much identical. Pretty much identical. Off the pitch, we were at different ends of the spectrum. But when we did disagree, sometimes I may have been quite sharp, blunt, arrogant, whatever, but it never got hostile or rude or disrespectful between the two of us. And obviously, I've been feeling the way I feel about this ownership for 17 years. It's exactly that. There is not one player that has come to this football club that White Hart Lane couldn't have attracted, couldn't pay for, couldn't have got. The wage bill, because apparently we need to pay the big wages to go there, well, our wage bill has gone down. Our wage bill has gone down. As Ian said, I haven't been conned because I saw it a million miles away. I tried to say it, but I can understand why people couldn't see it. And Brian, you hate Levy. It's just because you hate. No. We have gone back. I spoke to Ben and Simeon on We Are Tottenham TV after the Bournemouth game, and I said, you know what? After the Newcastle game when we lost 6-1, everyone was like, oh my God, we've gone backwards from then. We've had 4 managers, millions of pounds spent, and we've gone backwards. And we keep thinking, this is the window. Oh, he's going to do it this time. There's no excuse not to. There's no excuse not to. We buy one first-team player to play in that squad, and the rest are kids that he doesn't trust. It doesn't matter what happens within this football club. I actually lost my rag on my own group chat, and Mark's in it, so he knows. And Jose, I think I went absolutely ballistic because everyone's going, well, this isn't just on Levy, it's on Ange. You can go around the whole Ange is at fault, or it's the guy that hired him that. Until there's change at this football club, it doesn't matter if Ange stays, if Ange goes, if who I want, Thomas Frank, comes in. And when Ian and I were having those discussions, like he correctly said, he's the first one that mentioned Ange before it was even a thing. I said Thomas Frank was my choice. I don't even want Thomas Frank to get here because he's doomed. I would rather the next managers be the RSPCA dogs that walk out, because it does not matter who comes into this football club before the ink is dried on that signature, on that contract, they're screwed. It doesn't matter. We have tried. What do you want to try? Do you want to try the win now managers, but not give them the win now money? Vanity projects. Oh, let's try that. Failure. Do you want to try the rebuilds? Tried that. Failure. Do you want to try the defensive managers? Tried that. Failure. Do you want to try the attacking football? Tried it. Failed it. Do you want to sack a manager at half-time that started all of this because it got a little bit rough? Martin Jol got the sack after 2 years of getting us from mid-table to European contending, and he paid for his job at half-time. Nuno paid for his job for less than this. And I'm Ange. It's a result-based business, but he doesn't want to sack him because then he knows it's another failed disaster and tension comes on him. No one would... Mate, I'm a Spurs fan. If I was a football manager and Daniel Levy picked up the phone to me and said, do you want to come and manage Tottenham? I would run a country mile. Who in their right... If we get rid of Ange Postecoglou, your top-tier managers won't come near us. We're done. were done because they asked for their staff to come. And just like Nuno, who didn't get his number 2 only at Tottenham. Nope, you can't do this, you can't do that. We can't attract the middle ground. Even if Amorim was available still, do you think Daniel Levy would pay compensation? No. Graham Potter, who's been out of work for 2 years, doesn't even want to come to us. So it's going to be Ryan Mason. And yet again, these fans that run their mouth, whether it's about Andrew or Levy, oh, he's got to go, I'm fucking furious. These match day going fans, that like to run their mouth in chats and run their mouth on channels and say, yeah, we got to go, we got to get together. You get in that pitch and you're crickets. You do nothing. I had the balls to stand there, as Ian knows, and Adrian, you saw me, Mark, Jose.
I saw you.
Me and 200 people had the balls to stand in front of 62,000 people. And took dog's abuse. Dog's abuse. But all the blooming tension that got caused in that ground was because of the group I proudly stand with. The part that Ben Kaufman in the chat is part of.
It was very effective protest,
right.
Brian. Your protest was effective. It got to
this
lead.
Is the thing. We do it, and I've had 17 messages, like I said to you last week, saying, you guys have got to get together and start this again because we'll join you this time. We'll do it. We're like, no. You do it. You organise it. This club, Ian, getting back to your question. This club.
Well, no. I think, listen, you've covered a lot. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to talk a few bits about the game. And then I think I'm going to come back to some of this.
Yeah, sure. Sure, buddy.
I've never been a big Levy outer. Never.
Yeah,
but this rinse and repeat with different managers has got to a point where I'm thinking another manager is another change in the deck chair positions in the on the Titanic. And I absolutely do agree with you that unless we have a change in ownership, nothing can change. Let's talk about a few things of the game.
Can I welcome you to the group? Can I welcome you to the Levy out group quickly?
No.
No, all right. I thought you were applying for membership.
No. It's like, it's a bit like moving house. You've got to have another house to move into.
I suppose.
Owner. Right. Let's talk about these because maybe different perspectives at the ground, different perspectives on television. Tom, I'm trying to think of your position in the stadium. You'd have probably got quite a good view of that, would you? The Caicedo challenge.
So we saw the challenge go in, but I mean, from the stands, it was a bit like, oh, that looked a bit nasty, but I don't really know. Like, it just looked like two players going together and stuff like that. Well, then obviously it came up on the screens in the stadium about 12 minutes later, saying, "Oh, VAR checked." Like, literally brought up the tweet that from the Premier League panel, VAR check thing, and we were all going, "What? Yeah. It must have been bad then. He didn't even get a yellow card. Like, what's going on?"
No, nothing.
And then we all people looking at half time, and it all came up on like the screens in the I was going to say the foyer, not the foyer, but not in the actual ground. Can't remember. Concourse.
Come on to Forster. Sorry. Come back to Forster. I've got it in the second half.
All right.
But yeah, literally, like, came on in the and everyone was like, "How has this guy not been sent off?" Because Romero got sent off for a very, very similar challenge, but the only difference being that Romero actually got the ball, whereas Caicedo didn't. Might not have been quite as forceful as that, but and then obviously I saw the clips of Kulusevski's, and that was naughty as well. Like, he could have easily have seen red for that, leaving his elbow up. But does that challenge happen if the red card gets given for Caicedo? Probably not. Like, but it's all if, buts, and maybes, isn't it? Really. Does that red? I mean, him getting a red card probably does change the game. But I think we've proven this season that when a team goes down to 10 men against us, we seem to struggle.
Yeah.
Jose, what do you think of the two decisions? Well, we talked about Caicedo, but what about Kulusevski as well? Because I saw that 4 times before I actually realised that his right arm had swung quite high.
It wasn't in a natural position. So it's the second one wasn't in a natural position, but for me that was a 50-50. It wasn't in a natural position, but it could have or not been given. Either way, you wouldn't have argued the toss either way. The first one though, I thought was 100%. From what we've seen so far this season, it was 100% a red card. I'm not going to say that he went to do the player because I don't think he did, but for them to then turn around and say, "Oh, but there wasn't enough force," other players have been sent off for similar throughout this season. But with the other one, with the Kulusevski one, it could 50-50. You could have said no, it's not, or yes, it's given. If a red card had been given for Kulusevski, that would have been it wouldn't have been turned over by VAR. VAR would have kept it as a red. The fact that it wasn't given, well, on field, VAR got involved and said no, there's no decision to make. So that for me was a 50-50. You would have taken the red or not taken the red, but the first one I felt was a red card.
Mark, when I saw it, watching with my partner, and I saw the slow-mo and the Kakeda's going over the top on Sarr, wasn't it? It wasn't Basuma.
No, it was on Sarr.
It wasn't Sarr.
It wasn't
Sarr.
Sarr.
I just turned to Mandy and I just said, "Oh, he's off." He's off.
Yeah,
as
right.
As soon as I saw it, I'm an ex-referee. I've been referee for a while. You know the way the game is. You go over the ball like that, into the shin of your opponent. No, he's definitely going off.
No, during the
staggered that he didn't.
Yeah. Now during the game, obviously I did the watch along.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Nigel both said that's a red card. That's a red card, and we both compared it to Romero. Strangely enough, last season versus Chelsea, where he actually won the ball and still got sent off
for the follow through.
Yeah, all right. The force wasn't there with the tackle, but it was over the top of the ball, and he kicked him in the shin. And it's like you said, there's red cards for that every day of the week. So why not? This is what confuses me with football sometimes. Is in another game on another day that would have been a red card. Why isn't it today? In the Kulusevski one, when that happened, I was watching his feet because the ref gave a foul. It was only after the game when they showed like the highlights or I say low lights, when Sky showed the low lights of the game, and you seen like Kulusevski running with his arm like this, like and he's sort of that's completely unnecessary. It's more stupidity than anything else, I think.
I mean, I wonder, Brian, if he'd have sent off Caicedo, he'd have then felt obliged to send Kulusevski off.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that I don't understand. What I don't understand with the Caicedo one is that is exactly what Romero got sent off for in the penalty area against Chelsea last season. The exact thing. And that was held up for VAR and went in, and then obviously a penalty and a red card. I don't see how VAR we know it's not even worth talking about VAR in football anymore because every week there's something, and I would rather get rid of it completely, like just done with it, go back to the old way. But there were a few challenges that weren't pleasant. And I think that Caicedo one, in all honesty, and it may be my Spurs bias, was the worst one of the lot. But it's exactly the same as what happened with Romero. But then you see, I can say that was the same as Romero last year. But then this week alone, a Southampton player got sent off for pulling Cucurella's hair. And we all know what Romero did with Cucurella's hair. So it's when you start talking decisions now, I think VAR has become a joke. There's no point in saying, VAR said this and did this, because it's not impacting the game for the better.
Brian, to add to that, and I get where people are coming on those decisions which weren't given. What about the decisions that should have happened? I mean, like, I'm at the stadium, I'm watching players all over Solanke, right, grabbing him around the waist, right, and all this, and nothing's given for it.
Yep. Listen, it's the referee. I'm tired of blaming or using referees as excuses for Spurs. Now we're our own worst enemies. Game management was bad today, and we've got to. Do you know what? We have to look at this now. We are not as good as we think we are, or we are as bad as we think we are. We've got to stop thinking we're challenging for top. Whoever thought that at the beginning said we're not challenging for top four. We're not challenging. We've got to realise, as they say, you pay middle of the road wages for middle of the road quality, you get middle in the road table, and that's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Jose, penalties? Sorry, red cards or no red cards?
What for Bissouma? Sorry for Caicedo.
I'm going to come on to the Bissouma. No, for Caicedo and Kulusevski.
I've already you answered me already.
Sorry,
I've already done it.
I did that. Sorry. Adrian.
What, Bissouma madness?
No,
No.
Let's move on then. Go on. Everybody's
all right.
had enough of the red cards. Bissouma, and I don't know how well you saw it in the ground, but over on the far side on the east stand halfway line, loses the ball, misses a tackle, eventually sprints back. I mean, it was the most stonewall of stonewall penalties you could ever imagine.
Again, we said again.
I could be further away from that decision, right?
Again, we said this on the watch along.
Got it
We
right.
said this on the watch along. Stonewaller.
Right, and I'm thinking we're 2-1 up. You know, this could prove to be costly. Because I thought most fans today, I mean, there's a lot of fans thought we were going to lose this game. There was a lot of fans that thought, oh, yeah, we'll take a draw. And now this happens. It always seems to happen against Chelsea, doesn't it? Like, you know what I mean? And like, so they get to 2-2, right? They had a lot of the ball. They had 200 more passes than we did in the game. But actually, you know, they got the win. So it's very hard to like even look at Spurs positives when you lose a game. But like when you compare the XG, like Tom said earlier and all that, like, you know, we had enough chances, but it was a penalty. The second one was a penalty as well. And what we doing? You expecting to win a game when you give away 2 penalties in a game? I mean, like, it's just madness, isn't it? It's madness. It's a good little thing you put in there, actually. Bissouma madness 2-2. Right?
Tom, you're a fair way from that as well, particularly the start.
I don't rate the player. I do not rate the player. I don't rate Bissouma. I agree with Jose. I like Sarr. I don't rate Bissouma. He hasn't got the consistency levels over a season to do what we need. I don't care if he's not a number 6. He did sit in front of the back 4 today. We did look 4-2-3-1 when we started. We did drop back in 4-5-1. There wasn't this sort of like a mad gung-ho football. It was Chelsea. Well, we couldn't because they had more of the ball than we did. They had 200 more passes than us. We only had 38% possession, right? But like, I'm not a fan of Bissouma. I'd get rid of him. Seriously, I would. But you know, this is that's another conversation.
Yeah, Tom, dreadful penalties to concede. I mean, particularly the Bissouma one that made it 2-2. I mean, we were hanging on, and you just give it away.
I mean, yeah, as you said, I couldn't be further away from where, and literally in that south stand, as soon as everyone saw him go to the ground, there was just an ref didn't even need to blow his whistle. Everyone just knew, and it couldn't have been any other player than Bissouma. He just I don't know what goes on in his head at times, but he's so rash for no real reason. He makes silly decisions. And the thing is, ability-wise, he could be an incredible player, but he's got nothing. It's like he needs someone next to him who's got the nous, got the brains, got the. I don't want to be offensive to him, but got what it is needed to coach him through that game and stop him from making stupid decisions. When we went 2-1 down, he was actually the only player I saw going to all the players, calm down, use your heads, let's just settle. And then 5 minutes
He
into the
does
second
that.
half, he goes flying in. And the worst thing of it was that Caicedo was going nowhere. He's not even going towards the goal. He's actually taken a touch away from the goal on his weaker side. Like, there was literally no reason to make that challenge. And the problem is because he's made that challenge, Sarr, who's a younger kid, who's being coached along in the game by Basuma, then goes and makes another stupid challenge, like, afterwards, which is arguably even not as cynical as Basuma's, but even worse in the fact of Palmer's literally running to the corner flag on the edge of the box.
Absolutely.
You just see him out of the box. And okay, yeah, Cole Palmer is probably good enough to produce something from there, but he's definitely good enough to stick the ball in the back of the net if you give him a chance from 12 yards without anyone in front of him. So that's just boneheaded. Like, I'm trying to not be offensive to players and their intelligence and stuff like that, because I'm sure they're intelligent guys, but that was just idiotic from both of them. And don't make those challenges. See out that Chelsea were always in that first 15 minutes of the second half, were always going to come at us hard and fast and try and make something happen. We see out that first 10, 15 minutes, it could be a completely different game, and then we could start getting back into the game. But we gifted them the opportunities to get back in the match and then in front. It's just irritating.
Tom, Basuma's a liability, isn't he? He got 3 suspensions last year. He got dumped diving away at Luton.
Again,
right? Simulation, right?
Basuma.
Stuff like that. He's picked up his 5th yellow card today, so he's going to get a game ban.
We might actually see.
I want him out of the club. He is very talented, but I want him out. I want him gone. I think we can bring in a dog of war and get rid of him.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
where did Brian go?
Must have been something you said, Tom.
Oh no, he's back. Right, I'll bring him in.
He'll be back. Yeah.
There you go, Brian.
Yeah, I thought I'd offended you.
No, not at all.
No, with Basuma, again, a talented player, but I think he's proven enough now that he wasn't good enough under Conte in a Conte system, and he's proven to not be good enough under Ange in an Ange system, and it's just a liability off the pitch as well as seemingly on it as well. And I just think, we've got a lot of midfielders. If we have to move one out to bring one in, then he's the one I'm looking at.
Yeah,
let's try and bring Jose in. Jose, the 2 penalties.
I've said what I've had to say on Basuma. He's a clown, has been from day one when he came to our club. He's just not. He's not the standard. He's got the attention span of a aardvark.
Normally it's a goldfish.
No, I'm going to say an aardvark. I'm being kind.
I've never heard aardvark mentioned.
Yeah, I'm saying that to be kind. At the end of the day, if you saw the tackle, right, he's put the tackle in. He's hardly touched Caicedo. Caicedo knew it was coming. He knew what Basuma was going to do because they used to play together at Brighton. And the minute that he went to ground, Basuma went to ground. Did you see how quickly Caicedo got up and started punching the air that he got the penalty?
Yeah.
He didn't roll about. He didn't roll about. He didn't spin.
No.
He got straight up in one action, one swoop. He got straight up because he
Went
knew
like
it was
that.
coming.
Yeah,
And he knew that he'd done one on his old mate, right?
Yeah.
And as for Sarr, clueless. When you've got someone in the box with their back to you, but they're in the box, you jockey. You don't go steamrollering straight into the back of them. It's a penalty all day long.
Yeah. Well, put it this way. Put it this way. On the watch along, both of those penalties, me and Nudge both agreed. Stonewallers. End of story. They weren't. They're not even debatable.
No.
To be honest, are they? No. The
the
Biss one, especially. The Biss one is just sheer carelessness.
Even the Sarr one. When you play, when you play football from a young age, even at school, you're taught to jockey a player. Jockey the player.
Yeah.
You don't go careering into the back of them. Especially inside the penalty box.
Yeah.
Because it's a stonewall penalty.
Especially when they're running out of the penalty area as well.
Yeah.
He wasn't even.
The contact was in the penalty area. So
yeah.
They're 2 penalties. They're 2 penalties that could have been avoided. Caicedo was going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So both the penalties for me could have been avoided. It just
Brian, your
two.
take on these penalties?
Bissouma, you could see what was going on with that foul. As soon as before he even slid, you're like, it's a penalty. You just saw it's a penalty. And then the second one from Sarr is just petulant, lashing out, and stupidity. Now, the thing is as well, not only were they stupid and rash, do they not realise who their penalty taker is? When you realise your penalty taker or their penalty taker is Cole Palmer, who took both penalties brilliantly. That's another thing with Cole Palmer. Apparently, we're looking for the greatest British young talent. Completely missed that one, didn't we? Funny enough. But the Bissouma incident, I've said we have no leaders on the football pitch. We have experienced players now. When we did all that rebranding, we've rebranded the word experienced for leadership because there's no leaders. That tackle was ridiculous. He was actually against Bournemouth. He was actually doing better today. And in one foul swoop, bang. Listen, the second one was a bit petulant, but do I think it's a bit soft? Maybe, but you can't do it. You can't do it in this day and age. And if it had been the other way around, we would have been absolutely going, that's a nailed-on penalty. And as Jose just said, and I was saying this on We Are Tottenham TV, these players played football from grassroots. They then play for their boroughs, whatever. They then get into academies. They then get into the first teams wherever they are. They play internationally. They then get their big moves wherever you want. The biggest no-no is don't go to ground sliding in like that, because all the players got to do is a nice little touch, leave his leg out, done. They're both stonewall penalties. And our mentality and football brain switched off again.
Mm-hmm.
Both penalties without doubt.
With the second penalty, that was the ultimate piss take. Just chipping it down the middle like that. You know, and you got to remember, that was what? That's when they were 3-2 up. It wasn't as if they were winning 5-0. I think, the second penalty was the fourth goal. Is that right?
Yeah, the third and the fourth.
Yeah. And so the second penalty, they were only 3-2 up. I mean, if he chips it down the middle and Fraser stands still and he catches it, he looks like a complete idiot, especially seeing as we get one back towards the end. You know, but like to do that, it's all right doing that when you're like 4-0 up or something, or 5-0 up. It's fine doing that, you know, take the piss, to be honest. But like to do that at 3-2, that is ultimate cojones to him. That takes big bollocks.
All right, back to Ian's next point now.
I want to talk about our captain. Couple of things. First of all, that one he goes through 1-on-1. I know he missed it, but does anyone have a view about how on earth he wasn't considered to be offside, considering Udogie, I think it was, interfered with his opponent so much? I was staggered the flag didn't go up. Staggered. Anyone want to come in on that?
Actually, the crowd was screaming, "Don't take the ball because you'll be offside."
Yeah.
Right? They were screaming on the left, Don't touch the ball because you'll be offside. And they let, I think it was run on, right? And then, then for them to run on. I mean, I don't know if Tom's got a different view to me. I don't know where Tom is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a south stand near the corner flag on the touchline where all the players warm up and stuff like that. But when Udogie was right, it was all like, yeah, he's offside, and then Son takes over, and to be honest, if Son scores that and the goal gets given, and I was a Chelsea fan, thank God I'm Chelsea fan, but if I was, you'd be going absolutely apoplectic because Udogie has made an effort to go to that ball. It's only when everyone's screaming at him to not. But irrespective of whether it was offside or not, Son missed.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 points. Yeah.
He in that moment, he could have made those referees have to make a really difficult decision, and we would have seen there or then, what they would have come up with. He missed. So whether it was offside or not, it's irrespective. It doesn't matter. Like, end of the day, they've actually done what the rhetoric of the referee is. Let the play. If you're unsure of the decision, let the game go on. Let a moment happen, and then you can come back and let VAR do what it needs to do. Not a massive fan of that, but in that moment, obviously, it makes sense. But he missed, and it was awful.
Yeah.
Well,
And Son probably could have had a hat trick today. And he missed it, and the one that he scored was probably the least important of the chances that he had. And I've said about Son this season is that he's not the player he was, but he's still a player who has moments and he can produce moments. And the one thing I said earlier on in this, and I think I said it on one of these podcasts, is if there is a player running through one-on-one with the keeper, and you got to back them to score a goal, the one player in our team I would say I would want to have that ball is Son.
Mm-hmm.
No more?
If he's not even doing that now.
Yeah. I mean, Werner was getting pelters, Jose, to use a good Scottish expression, getting absolute pelters for the number of one-on-ones he was missing. But Son is missing just as many. And it started. If there was one before, I forgot. But the one where he was one on one, 10 minutes to go against Man City, and misses, and he's been missing them consistently since. Son's got a bit of credit in the bank, but he's missing more than Werner, and Werner's assisting, and Werner's scoring as many goals. And
let's face it.
Son's not worth a place in the team, Jose.
We didn't mind the one against Man City. Let's get that in there. We didn't mind that he missed that.
I did.
Oh, all right. Mm-hmm.
Jose.
So for me, going back to the was it offside or not?
Yeah.
When you play football as a youngster, and you used the referee, didn't you, Ian? Right.
Yep.
What do you always say? Play
the
whistle.
Yeah.
Now with VAR, what tends to happen is a player can be offside, right? And they let the action complete and finish. So they let it go on for a bit longer than what they should do. Then they'll stick their flag up. Now, I think that two more strides, if a doggy made 2 more strides, that flag would have gone up. The referee would have brought the game back. The fact that he stopped when he did and Son went then running on, it's a perfectly legitimate goal to me if he goes on to score it. But as Tom said, he went on to miss it. And the funny thing is that he had a chance to take that shot on, or he could have squared the ball to Werner, who had an open goal for that. And he took the shot instead, and the shot went wide. Sonny, you expect elitism from Sonny because Sonny's finishing left and right foot over the years has been amazing. And I keep saying over and over again, Sonny has been a great servant for the club, but we can all see Sonny's not the same player. Everyone can see it. He's still better than what we've got in the team. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
He's still better than
He's got 5 goals and 3 or 4 assists in 15 games or something.
He's better than what we got in the team at the moment. But with your own eyes, you can see it. You can see what's happening with Sonny. So,
Brian?
Yes. Listen, Son, it's such a shame once again it's ending this way. All our hopes are kind of on him. When you've got Harry Kane playing alongside you, and when Kane's got Heung-min Son, all good and gravy. We're asking Son to do too much. He's been a wonderful servant. He's an incredible player and ambassador of the football, all that. But we need to look at it on the playing side of things now. We're having to manage his minutes because of his age and his fitness. Like you said, these chances were, I would have placed him up with Harry Kane, that if you're through one-on-one, you might as well turn around and go back to the halfway line because it's as good as a goal. And it's not happening. And the scary thing is, you look at big players that we've lost in the past and failed to replace them, or seeing how many years it's taken to find the right one. Well, Son is the last one of that generation, really, isn't he? Of that team, that great team that we had. And we're still trying to find replacements for players. And this club, I always refer back to, Ian, when it comes to this. I always use Edward van der Sar at Manchester United as the perfect example. When they knew he was on his last contract, they used 2 years to scout David De Gea. And then they brought him in, a young goalkeeper, big money. Obviously, it didn't start well, but Alex Ferguson had seen something. They'd used that 2 years to do a proper scouting, right, who is the right one for you. And they got the right man. And obviously, we know what a great goalkeeper David De Gea went on to be, and is still proven to be in Fiorentina. The search, I would hope, is on already for his replacement. But this is a thing when Son is at his ruthless best. I mean, I go back. You speak about those goals. The one that he had in the first half, you know, when he cut in on the edge of the area and it fired and it just went over the. That's the kind of Sonny 9 times out of 10 that's in the back of the net.
Yeah.
At the point when I saw before the replay came on, I was like, do you know what? There's a play that I think Brennan Johnson was open a little bit sooner, but Sonny took that shot on, and you don't blame Sonny for taking it because we know what he can do. But you just see that you see those opportunities, and they were bread and butter to him. And he'd score what 3, 4, 5 goals like that season from that particular. And there's so much pressure on this man. There is the captain. You have to be the leader. Sonny is Sonny. Sonny. Listen, the other thing I don't get with Sonny, and this is the thing that really pisses me off about him personally, is when he's away for career, he takes every free kick, and every international break, he seems to be putting one in the top corner. But he doesn't take a single one for Tottenham Hotspur. It's like, why aren't you? You're the captain. Grab the ball. I get so annoyed when players that have given us such wonderful service like Son are ending in this way through no fault of his own.
No.
But like you said, Ian, you were bang on the money. A lot of people were giving Werner, and listen, I'm not comparing Son to Werner at all because they're not even in the same league. But if those chances had been Werner that Son missed today, social media and the Spurs fan base would have gone absolutely bananas at him. And you've got to draw the line somewhere. And like I said with Sonny, I feel so sad for him that it's ending this way.
But it happens. Old Father Time catches up with us all, Adrian.
Yeah.
You should know better than most.
Sorry. Listen, ageism always comes into our podcast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially we've been supporting the team for over 6 decades, right? So, on to your point, Ian. Brian, stay with you. Is Andrew out of his depth?
Yes.
Well, hang on. We've moved the discussion on. Can I go back? Can we talk about? Someone asked about Fraser Forster.
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, okay. Let's go. This Forster. I missed that one. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Before we go on, Fraser Forster. Any comments? Because I thought, bloody hell,
magnificent.
I think he's been excellent when he's coming. I mean, I was worried. Don't get me wrong. I was worried, but I think he's been excellent. I mean, you might worry about Vicario coming for crosses, but you don't want the tree coming at you if you're an attacker.
No.
Yeah.
And
I think he intimidates opposing attackers as well. And even today, he come from a couple of crosses and a big crowd and all that. No, I'm not faulting Fraser since he's come in. No, I think he's done a good job. He's not one for the future, obviously, but I mean, I think he's done better than I expected, to be honest. He has.
Fraser, well, let's face it. Fraser's probably been one of our best players. Certainly since he's been in. I mean, against Bournemouth, if it weren't for him, we'd lost 5-0, let alone 1-0. You know, I mean,
and I'd throw Davies into that mix as well, and I might get
Yeah.
belts for it. But I mean, I
Yeah.
think Davies has been very good.
yes,
Yeah.
right. But you know, I mean, Fraser, he's dependable. But you knew those 2 penalties. You knew when Chelsea awarded those 2 penalties, he ain't saving any of them. But it's refreshing when the corners come in and he charges off his line and catches it. You think, where's this come from? Where's this come from?
Yeah. Anyone want to come in?
I mean, as someone who played in goal, I know I'm not massively tall, but I always find with goalkeepers, they only get praised when the team's playing bad. So it's easy to say that Foster's been playing brilliantly because he's had to do quite a lot. And he's made some great saves and he's done everything that I would hope a keeper would do. Like, I don't think he's done anything that makes me go, oh god, yeah, we like without him doing that, he's saved the shots that I think he should save, and the ones that have gone past him are ones that probably should go past most goalkeepers. I don't think it's much to really get. He's not been the fraud or the letdown that everyone thought he might be. That's been the rest of the team so far.
Pat Jennings won the Player of the Year. I think about 1974 or thereabouts. I think he was still with the club then. And his response was, how could I not be the Player of the Year behind our defence? And that just about sums up how we were. And your point about us being the goalkeeper's only the man of the match when the team does badly. But anyone else want to comment before we move on? Because I do want to talk about Romero and Van de Ven and how long they might be out for, because we're down to 1 fit centre half in Dragusin.
On the Romero, they're saying it's a quad injury, and on Van de Ven, they're saying that Van de Ven came off as a precaution. He's not injured, came off as a precaution, and that he was always going to play around 60 minutes, is what they've said.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Okay.
That's bullshit.
Do you think so?
Yeah, the way he was. Look, what I will say, Romero, you could tell. And once again, Tottenham Hotspur, when a player goes off and Romero's holding himself like this, when he's got a shirt over him, he's covering himself like that. Why are we letting him walk right around the stadium? Put him on a stretcher so he doesn't use that leg and get him to a doctor's. Every time when Bentancur did it at Leicester, walk off the pitch. Every time Van de Ven's had his hamstring, just walk off the pitch. Van de Ven did not look right from the start. Didn't look like his commanding self. And you could see him huffing and puffing. It could be. But then he went down a bit. If Spurs are saying it was they may have planned for him to only play 60 minutes, and that I would understand. But yeah, I think he's done something. I think we're here in the coming days. He's had a scan.
Brian, I disagree with you on Van de Ven. He made some good pacey tackles and challenges and booted the ball at a touch, passed it down.
I didn't dispute that. I said near the end, he looked entirely out of breath and not.
I would get that. He hasn't played for a while, so I get that. Yeah.
But when you lip read what he was saying, right? He was saying I'm okay. He was telling the physio guy that he was okay. And they took him off as a precaution because he was telling the physio that he was okay. When the physio was stretching him and putting his leg up in the air and putting it over his shoulder and all that, you could lip read, you could see that Van de Ven was also saying to him, I'm okay.
I'm not against Angie's management in that way when he decides to okay, you've had an hour, what I expected, I'll take you off. That's precautionary. I think it's good game management as much as we've all criticised Ange on his game management in other areas. I'm not against that. It didn't affect the result as far as I'm concerned.
Jose, I will quickly add to that as well, Jose, brother, that Van de Ven also said that against Everton. And then he came out the second half and he went missing for 3 weeks with the hamstring. So, you know, the player, you got to remember as well, these players are pumped up on adrenaline. They're pumped up on it. I can see it. So listen, I could be wrong and Van de Ven could be fine. It was a precaution. But to me, in my own opinion, that looked more than a precaution.
I mean, I was talking about the Team V Rangers. So let's move on.
Johnson's definitely got a hamstring, Paul.
Good.
Well,
it just means Werner plays.
Let's. Well, what are we thinking? I mean, are we thinking Graham Dragerson at Ibrox? Is that what we're down to?
It would appear that way, unless they're bringing Ledley King in or Michael Dawson from the ambassador role.
You'll be mentioning Sol Campbell next.
No. Hang on. There is one more. There is one more. There's an ambassador. Mabs. Mabs is an ambassador. Bring him up.
Fit, so if it comes down to today's, subject, VDV's fit and Dragerson's fit. So if Romero's got, it's not a toe injury. Romero's got, it's not the same injury when it's ligament in the toe. So if he's got a knock, he's got a knock. Tom, do you reckon it'd be VDV and Dragerson?
Cheers, Graham.
Cheers, Graham.
To be honest, I think we'll find out in the coming days, won't we? Really, I mean, if Van der Ven is fit, or as it was a little tight or whatever it was, do we want to risk? But to be honest, I think we need to probably start thinking about putting our eggs into the Europa League basket rather than the Premier League at this rate, anyway. So you probably want to play your
Tom, because look, let me just on the Europa League. That's interesting, but because it goes down to 24 teams. If you're talking about finishing the top 8 and not going at the qualifiers, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But then you've got 16 teams below that. They're going to play 8 games.
Yeah.
Right? So 24 teams. There's no way we're not qualifying.
No, 100%, Adrian. We'll 100% qualify. I mean, we'll probably qualify on the points that we're on now. Like, I don't think there's a fear of that, because of how the league set up and stuff. But do we really want to play an extra 2 games?
No,
we can't play.
No, we don't.
No, exactly.
Remembering as well that one of them will be away.
Yeah, exactly.
We definitely don't want that.
No, so I think if we can finish top 8, but it's not just about the extra games. It's also that once you get through to the final 16, it's all seeded. So the top.
No, it's not.
It is. If first and second go onto different sides of the table and stuff like that, so it's seeded so that they don't play each other. It's all predicted out from the moment the league.
Well, that is news to me, because like when I watched Tottenham TV and Wayne TV, it turned out like if the top 8 teams, no matter what position they qualify in, I did ask this question. Like I haven't researched it, I should have, right? About does it mean you benefit in any way from the 16 teams that play the 8 games in a playoff? And it was everything I was getting was I haven't researched it, was a no. It doesn't matter where you finish in the top 8, you'll just get drawn against who you get drawn against in the 16 teams that play the 8 playoff games.
The top 8 that qualify become the seeded 8. And play 2 games less because they don't play the qualifiers.
That is the thing.
Right.
That
the team that finishes. The team
are
that
they
finishes,
seeded? I mean, I would have thought the top team in the first 8 would play the worst team that qualified in the 16 teams 8 games.
As far as I'm aware,
I was told no, but I mean, like, I don't know. This is news to me.
The team that finishes 9th will play the team that finishes 17th, 10th, 18th, 11th, 19th, like that.
Right.
So that's what I've been led to believe.
It's like the playoffs in the NHL.
10th place, 23rd.
Basically, what they do.
That would make sense. Something like you would benefit if you benefit from where you finish.
Perfect way to make it, and perfect way to sum it up and be very easy. When you get into the playoff positions, they always do it. The third place 7th. Third place 6th, and 4th and 5th play. Yeah. So basically, it's like a sandwich. The bottom team of that, and it will sandwich down. So then the 2 middle teams will meet each other. So where you finish does hold relevance in where you'll be in the playoff. When you get to the knockout stage, it won't. So there is, like there is a seeded thing. Listen, let's just get there first. Let's just
we're going to get there.
Okay.
We got
Ian's question: Dragerson only fit defender. Gray centre half Ibrox.
I mean, looking at the Ibrox game or against Rangers and stuff, I think it's probably going to have to be Gray. But looking past that to the Southampton game, Basuma's now suspended. Bentancur's suspended. So does that mean Archie Gray's going to finally play number 6?
Finally.
He's going to play both positions, defence and 6, in a brand new style.
Yeah. But
we are down to the bare bones, aren't we?
Postecoglou has also said, but he has also said, which surprised me,
he won't play in the 6. He won't play in the 6 on Thursday. It'll be Bentancur.
Bergvall can play the 6. Which surprised me.
Bentancur will play the 6.
But Bergvall pinged a couple of fabulous balls.
He's a quality footballer.
The last two games, I believe, against Bournemouth and this, when Bergvall has come on, he has actually been our deep lying player, our deep line playmaker. And actually, when I look at Bergvall, everyone says, "Oh, he's lightweight," but actually, he does look a bit of a unit in comparison to some of the others.
6'2", so he's great. 6'2". He's not a lightweight. He's not a lightweight.
So the reason why I'm saying that is, do we, against it, knowing what's going to be happening against Southampton, do we actually give? I mean, if I was manager, and I'm not, and there's a reason why I'm not manager, most likely of a football team, most likely, and not working as a zookeeper instead. But if I was manager, I'd be going, right, against Rangers, I need these guys to get to grips with this position. I'm playing them in that position against Rangers. But then you do you leave Bentancur? But do you then play Bentancur as an 8? Play Archie Gray as a 6, or I think we'll find out on Thursday, won't we?
Best I see of him in pre-season was that second half against Bayern Munich, Bergvall. I thought it was outstanding. I thought it was excellent. Right, we lost the game. I mean, I've watched other videos of him. People want to compare him to Archie Gray. It's like comparing apples with oranges. They're totally different types of player.
100%. But again, herein lies the problem. We're having a discussion about which 18-year-old we're going to play in our coming up games, rather than looking at what we should have, which is top quality, and not to say that they're not top quality and won't get there, but
that's because I can't see. I can see Archie Gray doing a better job sitting in front of the back four, like Basuma did today, than being better than Basuma.
Yeah. Jose says he needs to jump. I must say, I've been struggling with a headache.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
I think we covered the Ange bit, and I don't think there's much more we need to go over. We're running over 2 hours. I think we've covered this for enough for tonight. Let's see where we are next Sunday after we've played Rangers and after we've played Southampton.
Just through the panel.
Ask the question. Just ask that question.
Do you want? Guys. I'm fully Angian. I don't want to fault any manager at this club before the end of the season. That's me. I have loads of other reasons with the squad depth and all that, and I can blame Levy and all that. And I'm not a fan of him, and I wouldn't mind new owners. But these are totally different conversations, right? But Brian, you're Angian, aren't you? Why? Why are you Angian? Tell us why you're Angian.
Listen, I've got to the point now where I think it's a matter of when, not if. I think his days are numbered, unfortunately. It's another bad experiment. Basically, this is a results-based performance, whether we like him, whether we love him, whether we want him to succeed. And I've been very outspoken when I've been on any channel or any show saying that I always defend my manager, but you can't defend Pochettino in the final season at White Hart Lane lost 6 games all season. We've lost 7, and we're not even at Christmas. You've got to look at the stats now, unfortunately, are absolutely piling up on him. I can't remember. I'm trying to do my history to try and find out. I can't remember the last time Tottenham Hotspur Football Club were 11th after the first week of December. I cannot remember. You're probably going back when Martin Yole first took over. Maybe,
I was going to say pre-Poch.
Maybe Tim Sherwood with AVB. Maybe around those.
Redknapp.
Redknapp came in October. So you look at it.
If you want to jump, let me get you in on this. And literally, this is hot off the press. Spurs Express. Christian Romero has backed Ange Postecoglou. Quote: "He's a great coach. We saw it in the first season. In his second one, we've suffered a lot of injuries. Players should be the first one to be criticised. Then if we lose 10 games, the staff can be changed. We are very happy with this staff, me and my colleagues. We love how they work and the football they try and play." That's Christian Romero.
Yeah, he did an interview with Tutto Mercato. That was earlier on today.
Espanol?
Yeah, he did it in Spanish. Yeah, it was earlier on today.
Jose, are you engine or out?
I mean, I back my managers whilst they're with the club. I back my managers all the way. I back my team all the way, even if I don't agree with some of the players that we've got. I back them all the way. I've been supporting this club for 50 years. We've had worse times than this. I've been fortunate enough to see some good times with Tottenham. It's the younger fans that haven't seen the good times. You become kind of numb to this. It's like it's your usual experience for Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, like I say, it's the players, the manager. You can blame all parts of this club. And today, we lose games. We might have lost every game this season by the odd goal, but sometimes our performances should have been more than by the odd goal that we've lost certain games. But it is what it is. But we've got to stop this bloody roller coaster. We need to get consistency, and at the moment, I haven't seen consistency with Tottenham since the first 10 games of last season, in all honesty. And if anyone else has seen consistency, I think you're lying to yourselves. We're going like that. Snakes and ladders is what we're doing, and we have done since 10 games, the first 10 games of last season.
Tom, I'm going to go through. Tom,
right, I'm going to shoot. Boys, enjoy.
You
see you later.
Big up, Jose.
Sorry,
love your input.
He's gone. I was going to ask him when we next see him on Hotel Cockerell, but I imagine it's tomorrow, 4:00. Tom, Ange in or out?
I'm Ange in, but there's clearly things that he needs to look at himself and improve on. I mean, I said in a few different chats and stuff, if we go the rest of December without winning a game, then it becomes pretty untenable, doesn't it? But as Brian was saying earlier, like, what self-respecting manager in their right mind would look at a Tottenham Hotspur job and go, yeah, do you know what? I think that's the job for me, which then inevitably means we're going to end up with Mason. And I went to school with Ryan. He was the year above me. Played football with him on the pitch a lot of times and stuff. And he's a really nice guy, really good guy. But is he who we need? Like, I'm Ange in. He needs to improve. If we can get to the end of December, picking up getting some wins under our belts for the rest of this month, get some players back fit, and then hopefully, and I keep saying hopefully, I always say hopefully, if the board and the Lange and director of football, everything like that, actually backs the man and gets him 2 or 3 players, if possible, in January that are needle movers, then he's got the rest of the season in my eyes. But I would like to not sack him, because I just think all that's going to happen is we sack him, and then in January we don't sign anyone because we bring a new manager in, and we're stuck with the same old crap that we've still got.
I didn't know you'd been at school with Ryan Mason. I know you reasonably well. I did not know that.
Yeah, so you were saying, Jose was saying about the glory. I mean, I think I was possibly born at the worst possible time to be a Spurs fan. I was born in '92. So,
oh, you just missed out then.
Nothing but misery.
I actually need to be telling your father that you, your sister, your brother-in-law, your brother-in-law's father are all Spurs supporters and 3-4 season tickets there. It is an act of child abuse, and I will be telling Kevin that.
Yeah,
I will be telling him. Both Kevins.
Yeah.
Mark.
Yes, sir.
Ange?
Now, I know I've been vocal on here, right? But honestly, I am not Ange out. I am not. I truly am not. I want to see every manager and every player be successful at my club, as Deji would say. Probably in a different accent, but right. Of course I want them to be successful, but Ange's tactics, his lack of adaptability have got to be questioned. And it's like Brian said, it's a results-based business. Managers have been sacked for a lot less than Ange. 7 games we've lost before Christmas. It's virtually, especially, well, to be honest, whoever comes in at Tottenham, like Brian said, is done from the beginning because of who's at the top. He's not interested in winning. He's not interested in winning whatsoever. right? As long as those tills are ringing and people are drinking pints, why do you think Sonny's still there? Because he sells shirts in the shop. We've had this discussion on here many times, and I don't know. I haven't researched the stats, but I bet you if you get the stats from the Spurs shop, because you can go in there and you can get a shirt with the player's name on it. I bet Son sells 50% of them, of all the shirts sold. Because the times I've been to White Hart Lane, like the amount of South Korean flags you see,
I think,
like
to be honest, sorry to interrupt there, but I think
that's right.
I think that's harsh on Son. I think that is harsh on Son because he is still a top quality player.
Yeah, I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't, but he's coming towards the end. He's coming towards the end.
And it's not about that he shouldn't be here anymore. It should be.
No, I'm not saying that.
Pushing him for his place. And there is,
yeah. But to be honest, Ange, if he could adapt, because let's face it, when we're on fire and we punish teams like Man City away 4-0, West Ham 4, Villa. Everton 4, Villa 4, you know, we've seen it. The football is glorious to watch, but if only he took a bit more care of the defence, you know, set us up. You know, it's like today when we were 2-0 up, just like when we go 2-0 up, just see it out till half time at 2-0. Give Chelsea something to think. All right, they might still have won, but just change it. And so we're 2-0 up at the break. But he doesn't. It's the one style. And it you know, it's his way or the highway all the time.
Yeah.
I just think that.
Let me just put the question to you. The number of, apart from what everybody else has said, the number of long diagonal balls that teams play out to wide players. You know, then they had Sancho and Neto hugging touch lines.
Yeah.
Perfect to play against an Ange team. Constantly, you saw Dybala knocking balls out against Roma. Just bung the ball out to the wings, and their fullbacks will be exposed time and
you notice teams double up as well.
Yeah,
teams double up.
All teams do that, Mark.
I have to quickly tell you now. I'm just going to see if I can get this confirmed. Now, let me just have a look. Now, a well-known Twitter account, and I can say, I'm just going to see if it's actually on his Twitter. 1 second, just to make sure. 1 second.
You're talking about Suzanne Vega?
No. Okay, let's have a look. So, where is it? I'm just trying to see if this is true. I don't. He may have deleted it, but someone tweeted 18 minutes past 10 your time, with the comment, 2 words, he's gone.
No,
now,
bullshit.
Adrian, did you think when Nuno went, it happened quickly? You can't just, I'm telling you, this is from a very big Twitter account. The way this football club is run, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying it's happened. I'm not confirming it. But if you don't think there's things going on right now at Spurs, and this is a topic of discussion.
I don't think, no, it's not that. It's just that I don't think Ange would quit over that performance. We lost, but it wasn't awful. It wasn't.
It's not Ange quitting, Adrian. It's not Ange quitting.
Let me finish, right? I know you're an ardent Levy out. I want him gone, but I'm not as ardent as you and Brian are, right, about this, right? But I don't think he would after that performance because he wants to prove himself as an Australian manager as well. Now, and do I think that Levy and the board would sack him after the result? Not a chance in hell of that happening.
You don't know Levy.
Exactly. You don't know.
No. I'm just giving my opinion, right? You can come back me as strong as you like. I'm just giving my opinion. It's not happening. Look, we're in 3 cup competitions. We may finish as a mid-table team.
He doesn't care about cups.
Well, the fans do.
Yeah. Oh, God, the one thing Levy really does do.
There was no Brian today at the stadium. There was no booing, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Because this
And,
fan
and,
base,
and the fans, even though half of them left after 4-2,
this
they
fan
still
base
applauded
will
the
be
team
all
for
mouth.
having a go, right? There was none of that at the stadium today,
The
right?
fan base are all mouth. The fans are all mouth. The match day going fans who like to bitch and moan on their Twitters and social media and say things have got to change, whether it be against the owner, whether it be against the board, whether it be against players, they give it all this. And then when it comes down to it,
Well, we're talking a question of demographics now. Is that the match going
I'm talking
fan?
about match day going fans.
Is it the match going fans? Though?
Yes, I'm talking about match day
How
going
do you know
fans.
who is the match going fan?
Because I can see who is a match day going fan.
I mean, I go every game, right? But I mean,
I can't
you
account
know,
62,500 people. But when I have large groups and speak with the people that I speak with and do what I did, and remember, I will say, do what I did with other people. Did we get balloons on the pitch when we said we would? Did we do all the things we did?
No, the process is very effective.
I have so many people reaching out to me. We're going to the game. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then when push comes to shove.
Look, I was an ardent protester. I stood on two. One, when you messaged me on Facebook, you gave me an audio message. And one, that was opposite the cafeteria at Spurs have got now. And the other one, I think Iggy and Ben Kaufman were opposite the Spurs shop. Only two.
Yep.
Like, so I'm not, look, I'll be honest, like, I would like new owners. And when I always said, Brian, in the past, oh yeah, and Tottenham away and Stelios, who I think, no, I'm not going to say that.
No. Listen, I'm not going to. This is
not going to go there, right? And I said, hang on, guys. I want new owners, but come on. Do I want anyone? No. Show me something. And then I got loads of pelters. And then I said, like, hang on. I went, hang on. Let me finish. Hang on.
Change
I'm a great believer in the old saying, hang on to nurse for fear of something worse. And you actually backed that up during the week when they were giving all this Jerry Jones was going, and you said you didn't want Jerry Jones, right?
You've just changed the subject, Adrian. The main thing I was talking about was, could it be when he said he's gone from a big account? Could Ange be gone? I'm not saying he has gone.
No. I've
got to go help my wife. Walmart's just come here.
Brian, thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Hang on.
Nice meeting you, buddy.
You're always welcome, Brian. You're always welcome.
Cheers, brother. Cheers, brother. Cheers, brother.
Take care. Right.
Can I just say, just make sure if you haven't, just subscribe to Brian's. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Subscribe, guys.
I mean, I'm still Angin, and I'm just having a look at Twitter or X there. What's interesting is there's more and more people, I think, coming to say, no, it doesn't matter sacking him, because as long as Levy's there, the money's not there and what have you. I mean, if we get beat by Rangers and we lose in the cup to Man United, I think we got a problem.
Yeah, but definitely. Yeah.
But I think we can beat Man United, and then we're in a semi-final, and it's suddenly a different ball game.
Then it's fever time then.
And that's how fickle we all are as football fans. Right. Anyway,
Tom, you was going to say something.
No, I was going to say you're like fickle as football fans. I think Spurs fans are.
Ugly guzzler. Who the hell is that?
That person's.
I don't know. It's unofficial. It's official. No, what I was just looking at Facebook. It's not on there.
It's not bullshit. That's bullshit. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
not on.
It's official when the club puts out a statement saying.
Let me just run this past you guys, right? Just this scenario, right, which has always been in my head, right? We've had 13 managers since Enoch took charge of this club, which is a disgrace, right?
Yeah.
Now, you're going to sack a manager now, and then, like, where are you going to get the 14th manager from? We're in 3 cup competitions. Right?
Who the hell wants to come here to start with?
You'd be mad.
We've got 3 cup competitions we're in. We are definitely going to qualify for the Europa Cup League the way the league situation and the playoffs are set, because it goes down to 24 teams, basically. So we're going to qualify for that, right? And as Ian just rightly said, I mean, I think we can spank Man United in a one-off game at the Lane. If you can't, then we don't deserve to progress, right? We then got Tamworth, and the board are going to say, and what? I mean, like, if Levy's going to do this, he's a cunning fox, right? If he's going to get rid of Ange, He's going to do it at the end of the season when there's no games, there's no chance of a protest against outside the stadium and all this. I think if he was going to do it, he would do it then. And the reason I want to stick with Ange is because, like the previous managers, even though I didn't, and there's been loads I haven't liked, apart from Conte, Mourinho, didn't know nothing about Nuno, all that, right? Didn't want Terry Neal, right? Didn't want George Graham, right? But while they've been at this club, I've backed every manager and every player, same with the players. If I didn't like them, okay, you're with the club when you go. Thanks for your service, goodbye, right? Won't insult them, won't do what fans did in the away crowd. Oh, Ange, you fat bastard, you fat cunt, and all that. I think that's out of order. I think that's well out of order. You don't understand the whole picture, the overview of what is not happening or what should happen at the club, right? So to me, I'm fully Ange in, right? All season, no matter what the results are, even if we finish mid-table, I'm fully Ange in and the cups because, like, then I will assess it. I will assess it then.
Can I say, Adrian? Can I say, Adrian?
Say what you want. You can say what you want.
I'm gonna, right? I would be fully in agreement with you if you saw the trend line doing that, getting better. You know, if we were like slowly, all right, the odd little dip, but you could see an upward trend of our form and our results, I'd be in 100% agreement with you. But if you take the first 10 games out from last season out of it, we've been on a decline, mate. And we have been on a downward decline.
We've got false expectations with 11 kids under 24 years of age and only bringing in one wicker-class oven-ready player in Solanke.
That wasn't the point I was making, Adrian.
No, I know it's not. You want to see the climb. We haven't seen that climb.
No, it's a downward. It's a downward, Adrian. It's a downward trend. It's a downward trend generally, Adrian.
I think it's been like it's downward according to your expectations. I just think it's like been a level sort of leveling off. We haven't progressed, but we haven't really dipped. In my opinion, all depending on what your perception is of we should be doing a lot better, which I believe we should, or not.
7 losses before Christmas.
The thing is, right, people will rightly or wrongly look at the first 10, 12 games of last season and use that as their barometer for what we should be doing. But no, when we went into that season, no one thought we was finishing top 5, top 6. Everyone was like, this is a new project. It's a new thing going on. We was like, let's see what happens. There was much more like, if we can get top 6, we've done well. And then we had that first 10 games and we all got a bit beside ourselves. That should not be the barometer of we were unbeaten in 10 games. We're not going to go unbeaten every 10 games. That's not going to happen. There's going to be peaks and troughs in the form. In terms of how we're playing now to how we were playing throughout the majority of last season, we've probably been a little bit okay. In our best games, we've been way better than any game we were last season. But we've also had a lower floor as well. Our ceiling's been higher this season, but the floor has been much lower as well in terms of we've picked up bad results. But again, we haven't lost a game by more than 1 goal. And I know losing by 1 goal is the same as losing by 2 goals. It's a loss. A loss is a loss, whether you lose by 1, lose by 2, lose by 3. But I think it's really hard to just be like, but we've got worse since the first 10 games of last season. Well, of course we have. We didn't lose a game. So inherently, if you lose a game after that, you're worse than the first 10 games that we were under. And that's going to happen. You see it all the time with new manager bounces with teams. A new manager comes in and they play well and they do well. I mean, look at Glasner at Crystal Palace last year. He came in the end of January or during January and they went on a great run throughout the rest of the season. They've been absolute turd so far this season. Like, so you do get new manager bounces where players all buy into the ideas. They're all really good at it. And then that's when you start to see, okay, if the players don't, if when things start going wrong, that's when you start seeing what players are going to be good for you as a manager. When things are going right, when you're a new manager in a club, when things don't start going quite according to plan, you start seeing, okay, who's still bought into this, who still wants to be a part of this project. And I think it's easy to go, yeah, well, we're on a downward trend. It's way worse than where we started last season. We will never, even if Ange gets all of the best players in the world, I guarantee if he gets all the best signings in the world, we probably won't be on whatever it was, 26 points after 10 games next season. Like
I guarantee Ange will not be getting the best players in the world.
No,
I can guarantee
that. But
It sticks in my craw, right? Now, I don't mind when we critique Ange for his game management, substitutions, team selections, and all that. Now, I would like new owners. I've been specific on that. Who, I don't know, whatever. What I don't like from a section out there in the Spurs community is when press conferences are given, and because it's got nothing to do with Ange, it's more the leave out, that people will use any stick to bash Ange with on what he says at a press conference. They'll either misinterpret it. They never come and put it in quotes, right? Which is false. And to me, it's like, it's bad. It's bad. If you're going to like have a bash at someone, do it from a genuine angle. Don't be false about it and mislead people or try to mislead the community by talking what is basically a downright lie. If you're going to say what a manager says, right, put it in inverted commas and come at me with facts, because I always follow the data and science. That's the way I work, right? And facts, and I always bring facts to the shows. I try to. People can interpret them whichever way they want to, right? But like, at least I will never mislead the fans. But when you have people with a different agenda, which is more leave you out, which I get, because I would like new owners as well. Don't use Ange and bash a manager who's not been backed, right? To try and progress your angle of argument against like the board and all that. We all know the board is shit. We all know Levy's a prick, right? Right? We know that. And I'm sorry I said that. I said that on the last show, actually, and I don't normally go that strong, right? But yeah, I mean, like, I don't like that. It's not honest.
My biggest thing is if we sack Ange now, you get a new manager in. You've either got to get a manager who is similar in his play style to Ange, but maybe more pragmatic. Because if you don't, then all the players that we've just spent 300 million on over the last 3 transfer windows, well, what's the point? Because this manager is going to come in and go, oh, actually, no, that Solanke doesn't suit my style of play, so I'm going to need a different striker in and stuff like that. And that's the problem. Like, you're partway through a project now, and I'm hopeful. If the footballing side of the club, who is being headed up by Munn and Langer or Lange, whatever you want to call him, if they have any sense of brain or any sense of forward thinking, yes, they need to be doing everything in their power now to be making sure that Ange gets what he needs to succeed. But what they should also be thinking about is who's next, who are we getting in next? Because when clubs buy players now, they're not buying players necessarily for a manager. They're buying players for the next 2-3 managers. Yeah. Managers don't last long enough nowadays to warrant that. So they do have to think, which is why we have bought these young players.
True, Tom. Very true. Because just cut in there before you carry on.
Hang on.
Very true. Because like most managers' contracts, they might last 2-3 years if they're lucky, but players' contracts are now, the standard contract is like virtually 6 years. It's 5 years and years out.
5 years, yeah.
I agree with you, Tom. I totally agree.
No, right, no. I can guarantee you now, if, in inverted commas, Ange is sacked, Ryan Mason will get the job, right? And so in January, Daniel can say, oh, well, we haven't got a manager, so we haven't got to buy anybody because we don't know what the new manager will want. It will be the normal buzzwords and all the nonsense that comes out of the club, and that will save him spending any money in January.
It would be Matty Wells anyway, ex-Spurs player, because he's the head coach after Ange now.
Well, whatever.
Mason, no, because Mason was nearly farmed out to the Belgian club, Westerlo or somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? But like, those two are there. But we have got 5 coaches.
No. But I guarantee you,
Montgomery as well. And
I
He's
guarantee-
coming, guys. Adrian, you know, I had a really bad head before.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Yeah,
Coming
all right.
back again. So I can't end the show anyway. But if you want to carry on, that's fine. I'm just gonna log off I know it's my
All right.
show, but
all right,
Ian.
Cheers.
All right.
Great show, mate. Great show.
All right.
Cheers, Adrian.
See you next time, guys.
Cheers,
Thank you
cheers,
so
Ian.
much for coming
Cheers,
on.
Ian.
And Mark, Adrian.
See you later.
See, guys, I want to carry on because what's really bugging me.
Well, there's no comments coming in, Adrian.
No, well, it doesn't matter about
Literally.
the comments coming or not, right? There's 4 comments there, but what I wanted to mention was the fact.
No, there isn't.
Right, where were we? I want to talk about. Let's go back through the early banners I made on here. To better still be it. We know Basuma's banned for the next game, right? This point here, Tom, I want your take on this actually, because this interests me. Since before we get to this actually banner I put up for the last show, since 2019, according to whoever you believe, we've either spent 600 mil or 685 mil on players. That's the equivalent of 120 mil a season or 137 mil a season. All right, it's not a big difference. But in the 2023-24 season, bear in mind that accounts are always a year behind, we spent 272.10 mil on players. We sold 120 mil 0.7, and the net spend was 151 mil, right? 0.4. This season, it's not over yet. We can't include January in there. We've spent 93.55 mil. Now, this is transfer market. Now, people could come at me with pelters, and if you think these figures are wrong, then give me a link to somewhere else where you prove it different. So basically, what we have actually spent since Ange's come in is 244 mil, right, which is about 122 mil a season, which actually has been roughly our average. So I'm fearful of going into January and thinking like, will we buy anybody? As much as I'd like to get rid of Basuma for a more dominant, commanding, aggressive midfielder, and the fact that we are desperate for a left centre back and a left fullback, more the left fullback, I'm concerned. I mean, I'm concerned that the money with Levy and all that. I mean, I know we'll have gotten all this money from us going and getting our season tickets for games and all that, but I'm concerned. At best, I think we might get one player in January.
Yeah, it's difficult. The thing that I look at is that if we're not looking like we're going to get European football or anything next season in terms of league position, then I think Levy will dip into his pocket. He will sometimes spend to accumulate, but it's only ever financial. It's never spend to accumulate in terms of winning things. But the biggest problem is obviously you're saying since 2019 and stuff like that. But like this has been the big problem. You know, how many of the players have we bought since, you know, when? Okay, so let's look at the players that we bought under Mourinho, Reguilon, Højbjerg. Like, I'm trying to think who else we signed. Royale was Nuno, wasn't he? But even include him in this. You know, all the players that we've bought under those last 3 managers before Ange, how many of them actually fit to what we're trying to do now? And that's been the problem. Like, you've got clubs nowadays, and I'm hoping this is what we are doing now, have to buy players for what they want their club to be. And if they're saying that we're going to play in a certain style, be it attacking or whatever, then they've got to look at the players for that, and then they use their statistics to then get the best manager to get the best out of the players that they are getting. Football is not what it used to be. It's not the manager picking the players that he wants. It's the club picking the players and then picking the best manager for what they want. I don't agree with it, but that's what it is. That's what it is now. And you know, people saying, "Oh, Ange spent all this money." Ange hasn't spent a penny.
No, he hasn't.
He's been given a list of players, and they've gone, "We can get this player. Do you think he'll fit for you?" Yeah, great. Here he is. Like, you might ask him for recommendation, any players that you particularly like the look of, but that won't. They'll probably then go, okay, right, players. They'll go into all their statistics and go, okay, let players like this player, like that player, and then try and find the cheapest, best alternative.
Yeah, I mean, exactly that.
Can I just jump in?
You can. Let me just make this point first, though, and then you can jump in, Mark. I mean,
all right.
When David Pleat was talking to Daniel Levy, he said we're going down the data analytic route, right, on youth, right, which we've done because we've shown what the young players we've brought in, right, and now with Ange only being given what sort of like one oven-ready, proven player in the Premiership in like Solanke. Right, I mean, we've seen good things, and the young prospects we've brought in, but to expect 11 players, and you're including Lancashire and Mikey Moore, who I think is fantastic. I think he's absolutely fantastic. But I mean, like, if you're including those players in, you know, with Bergvall and Gray and Odebert, I just think it's asking a lot. I mean,
right? No, I just had to go to the toilet. I didn't say anything, but I just had to go to the loo.
Well, thanks for sharing it with us, Mark.
No. I just thought I'd share my information. But now the way I look at it, I only jumped into the last bit of the conversation. The way I look at it, right, Ange is probably given a list of players. Right now, we were linked all summer with Neto. Right now, if Ange picked Odebert over Neto, then questions have got to be asked. To be honest, Neto wasn't even on the list, was he? Or he might have been, but he soon got scrubbed off because of the price.
So,
you know what I mean?
With Neto,
no, because Chelsea made him a better offer. Basically,
it was.
And he's not even getting game time there, is he? Well, he was playing today, right? You know what I mean?
It was all getting towards the to being sort of done, and then Chelsea went and slapped an extra like 10 million onto what we were offering, and again, and then we went, instead of going, oh, we'll match that or whatever, we went, oh no.
Yeah.
And again, that's
this is the ambition of the club. This is the ambition of the club.
It's not the amount of money that the club spends. It's that we penny pinch over the players that we shouldn't penny pinch over. Like, if you want that player, get that player. And if you have to spend a little bit over, at the end of the day, would in any world would anyone say that Declan Rice should have been worth 105 million? Absolutely not. But they spent that because that's the player they wanted and the player they needed.
Yeah.
And actually, because of how Declan Rice has played for Arsenal, no one's going, oh, I can't believe you spent 100 million on him. I don't think I've heard anyone mention his price tag.
No.
And that's to say that's going to be true for every player. Chelsea spent 100 million on multiple players. Mudryk, who doesn't even get a game for them, they spent 85 million on or whatever. Okay, so horses for courses. They've got lots of money. They're going to go and splash it out. But they,
here we go. There we go.
But we don't buy twice. We buy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
Yeah.
And then we're still looking for, Porro.
And on Mudryk, right? Solomon, who we've loaned out of Leeds, has been scoring goals, but we didn't keep him because he had no pre-season. He was coming back from injury and all that. And we don't know if we'll keep him long-term or not. I mean, like, he bangs in a couple of goals, and he kept Mudryk out of the Shakhtar Donetsk side before they sold him to Chelsea anyway. And you're thinking, like, you think, how do the maths add up in all this? Like,
I mean,
again,
Adrian, I'll be looking to see if we could recall him.
Again, Adrian, again, we can all sit here now and we could make a whole team of players that we could have signed if it wasn't for Levy's penny pinching.
No, but this is only my perspective.
No, it's the truth.
I like the look of Solomon when we went away to. I see him have a couple of cameo roles, and I thought, like, watched a few videos of these are videos and all that when players are looking good. He had a couple of cameos, 15, 20. I think he played in the left or right for us. And then when we went away and played at Burnley and we won 5-2, he had 2 assists to Son, who scored a hat-trick on that day. And I thought, What I was looking for, see, I like players with vision who move the ball quickly and make things happen. And as you rightly said, Tom, earlier, Solanke's not the sort of player that will make things happen, right? Son is when he cuts in, curls one into the top corner or whatever it is, or when he's done it in the past. Kane did it. Solanke's not that sort of player. But I'm looking at Modric and think, do you move? Have you got vision? Do you move ball quickly? Can you make things happen? And I see him against Burnley away, and he did. He ticked those boxes for me. And I thought, you're all right. Then he got a bad injury. We seem to be cursed with them, right? And now he's at Leeds. He's doing all right. They love him, right? I don't know if he's got a future at Spurs. I couldn't tell you. But I thought, you've shown something. But he's only shown something to me in that one game. So, like, you know, I don't. Tom, did you ever look at Solomon at all? Or
I mean, last season I wasn't particularly enamoured with him. I was expecting to see him. I thought when we got him in that he was a player who'd pick up the ball and try and take on his man and stuff like that. And I just didn't really see him do that much. But maybe that's a lack of confidence. Maybe he got injured quite a few times last season and stuff, didn't he? And whatnot. So maybe, but that's what I'm thinking now. Is like, well, is he a worthwhile player trying to recall in January? If he's a player that the club want to keep for the long term, then I'd be looking at bringing him back. But I don't know. I think again we should be probably looking higher than that. I just want us, if we set a target of a player that we want, stop scrounging around for that few extra million saving. And spend it. And again, it's not my money. Well, I guess in some ways it is my money because I'm paying for a season ticket and stuff like that. But and it's all well and good just to go, just spend the extra 5 million and get your man. But like,
so on your point also on young players, right? Now, I agree. Like, no more young players, right? But there's one because we need a left back. There's one I really like in Dorgu. I just think he's 20, but I would take him tomorrow. I mean, like, but that's my opinion. I mean, I've been right and wrong about players in the past. So, like, you know, I'm not an expert on this, but this kid, although he's raw, he can. Not only does he get forward and left-hand side, he can ping an angled ball out to far. He has got vision, and he does. And to me, he moves the ball quickly, and he does make things happen. That's what I look with players, especially midfielders and forwards. Not so much defenders. I expect like intelligent awareness, positional play. You know, of the basic skills of heading and tackling, blah blah. You know what I mean? Yada yada. You know. I really like the look of Dorgu. If we could get him, I would take him tomorrow as not as backup with Tottenham Hotspur. We shouldn't be talking about backup in positions, but as competition for you, Doggy, who has been piss poor this season. He weren't too bad today, right? He wasn't too bad against Man United away. Against Man City away, we were all good. But apart from that, he started off poorly last season. He had no pre-season this season. He was shit. I think you, Doggy, he's got fantastic potential. I really.
You, Doggy, he's what, 21?
Yeah,
22.
I think he's 22. I think he's 22.
Like, and you're not going to get consistency with young players, and he's still finding his feet, and he made a lot of terrible passes today. That was the one thing. I think he defended well today, Udogie. He just made some really boneheaded like passes across the pitch. Like,
and so did Porro. To be honest.
Both of them. But again, but they're both playing a position where there is no competition.
No.
Like, there's no one looking to take their places. And I don't care who you are. There's one person I would say is probably exempt to needing competition to be really good, and that's Harry Kane. He was the only player who didn't need that competition to keep up in his levels. But that takes a special personality. But it's not just a case of like trying to up their game. It's, you know, if one's in bad form, then you've got another one who hopefully won't be in bad form. And then when that one's in bad form, you've got another one who can come in. And the nature of the game is we're playing a lot of games. So you need as many players who are first team quality as possible. so that the drop off isn't so significant when you're changing to those players. And like I said, I think we've had to do a lot of hard work since, you know, Conte went and stuff to get rid of players that really should have been got rid of a long time ago. Your Ndombele's and players like that. We've done loads to get rid of those players, and we've done that hard work. Like we're not looking at it now going, oh, we need that player to move on. We really need, like, the only players is Reguilon and maybe Spence, I would say, by how things are going for him.
I'll be honest.
Reguilon will go. Reguilon will go.
I'll be honest. I feel sorry for Spence. Right, he's come in. Right, allegedly, there's only what you read. He's changed his attitude. What has that man got to do to get a chance?
The thing is, I don't feel sorry for him because I don't know what.
I don't know. Is he any good?
No. Do you know what?
This is the thing. The fan base cry for players that they haven't seen. When have we seen a lot of Spence? He was at Middlesbrough, Forest. He went to Leeds. Right, he went out to France or whatever. All right, he did okay. He's come back to us. Right, I hope he can defend. I mean, in pre-season, he looked good going forward, Tom, didn't he? But and then he wandered out of position. He wasn't disciplined to me. I think you're right out of position. If we get a goal from this, no one's gonna complain. But
how many do we concede already?
He wandered across the pitch into, you know.
I agree with what you're saying. Like, I feel sorry for him to an extent, but it's hard. I'd feel more sorry for him if we had seen him play a bunch of games and he was playing well and then wasn't getting a chance. I just feel like Conte's had him and Conte didn't want him. And was like, no, anywhere but here. Ange's come in, and you'd think that would be a fresh start. And Ange's basically said exactly the same thing and sent him out on loan to Genoa last year. Genoa had a really cheap buy price for him, and they didn't trigger it. So that's
I think they're skint like most clubs out there.
Yeah, so it's hard to say, but he's how old is Spence ain't young, is he? He's 24, 25?
No. I'm not sure. I think he's still young. Mark, Google Spence's age, right? Just from
I knew you were going to ask me.
Because
I don't think he's as young as everyone thinks he is.
Yeah, I might be totally wrong here. I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong on this, you know? I mean, and the other interesting thing, Tom, was on centre-backs, prior to the injuries to VDV and Romero coming back today, when Andrew was asked before the season, all the media, Spurs want another centre-back and all. I get that. I'd love to have got Nkapi in. I would love to have got him in. Left-footed, can play as left-back as well. And
here's your answer, Adrian. It is the answer. I did Google it.
Is he 24? Well,
he is 24.
He should be hitting his straps, and I bow to Tom here, right?
Yeah.
I lost my thread, guys. I lost my thread.
But yeah, on Spence, he's 24 years old. He should be entering into his prime years now, and there's got to be a reason why multiple managers have not wanted to trust him for whatever reason. Yeah,
I agree there. I do agree with that.
And therefore, if that's the case, then he needs to be moved on. For his own,
Tom, he was happy to sign a contract after not even being in game time. That's questionable as well, isn't it? Have you got no ambition? You know what I mean?
I don't think he does. I don't think he does. I don't think he does have ambition. I think he enjoys playing the sport, but he also enjoys the fact that he pays paid a shit ton of money to maybe not necessarily do it. And I think that attitude must come across because two managers now have not wanted to pick him. And
then you then compare that, and I've considered this as well, right? You then compare that with the fact that Andrew's gone, great, I'll play you at right back, I trust you. I'll play you at left back, I trust you. I'll play you at centre back, I trust you.
Overspent.
So much trust in it. And I love the player, don't get me wrong. I watched him at Leeds. I watched him in midfield when he bossed the game against Chelsea. I watched him, I thought, I mean, you don't know. I mean, you think, but this kid is I won't compare him with Mikey Moore. I think is fucking superb. But like, and I watched all the under-21 games last year. But I think, you know, this kid Gray, he has really got something about him. Right? He's good. He's good in the air. He's got good vision. He's got good recoveries. He can tackle. Blah blah blah. I'm thinking like, yeah, he could play the number 6. Right?
I hope we get a chance to see him play that number 6 now that Basuma's
yeah.
thing.
Can I just jump in? Can I just jump in a minute? Right. The thing is with Gray, right now, we've had this discussion earlier on in the show. It's all right bringing Grays in. I wanted to see oven ready players with them. It's all right signing Gray and Bergvall. It's all right signing Gray and Bergvall. Yeah. They're going to be, what, they both 18? One might be 19. It's all right doing that. But bring some 25-year-olds in as well. People that are ready for the first team. People that are ready for the first team. But I said this in the summer during the transfer window, and certain members of the panel were laughing at me.
No, what I agree with you totally, and the issue I have is the fact that like when these players are playing in games, say like some obscure team in Europe, they're not playing with enough regular, what you might call first team players around. Yeah. And that doesn't help the situation. It may make them look bad or whatever. Now, if they shine in those situations, now we're really going to rave about them. Mm-hmm. You know? But it's hard. You know, we've seen it in the past. We go out and we lose to Zagreb and things. I know I would have sacked Marino straight after that game, personally. But, I mean, like, that's me. I didn't want him at the club anyway, so I'm biased there, right? I didn't want Conte. They're egocentric managers who think they're bigger than football clubs that they manage, you know what I mean? They love the old press attention and all that. Well, you can fuck off because, like, clubs are going to be around a lot longer than you, right? So, but that's different. No, but with the kids, it's a question. And then, like, you'll get fans complain, and it's a good critique when they go like, well, why haven't they played Bergvall? Why haven't they played Gray? You know what I mean? Or whatever. I mean, Bergvall's had less time than Gray. I thought when he come on today, he was all right? But like, it's you. Then you've got to drip feed them in at the right moment, haven't you? And you got to play them around. I mean, if I go back in the decades I've supported this club, when you brought a player in for the reserve team, he would play with 10 regulars. You know, he would play with 10 regulars, or at worst 9. You know, if there was 2, but it never was worse than that. But now, and you look, and they all talk about, oh, Jose, when he was at Man United, he played all the youngsters. No, he never did that. The only time he played youngsters, when he brought McTominay into that side, was because he was forced to, because he had so many injuries, right? When other managers have done it, they've gone, oh, they play youngsters. No, they don't. They play them when they're forced to because of injuries, because there's so much pressure on a manager, right, to play the strongest lineup he possibly can in case they lose a game, yeah, that they don't do that. With Ange, bit different. What manager would play Brennan Johnson, who I didn't rate? I must admit, I didn't rate him. When I looked at the videos, I didn't want him at the club, didn't fancy him at all. Not having read. What manager would play Brennan Johnson away to Arsenal when we drew 2-2, when he had a couple of half chances, right? You know, a game we should have won, actually. But, like, what manager would do that?
No.
Right, I've got a dash, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Will, the show.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say we're going to wrap up now anyway. I was just about to say the same thing, actually.
But yeah. So I'll see you guys.
We'll play you
Cheers,
out.
Tom.
We'll play you out with this. Find it. I am fucking pissed off, but I have to curb my anger about today because I have to do shows. Not happy. Not losing to them cunts anyway. You know what I mean?
Right, Adrian, I'm turning in. I got to be up early in the morning.
Mark, see you later, mate. Bye.
See you later.